Logan Hayes stood in the sterile conference room, hands steady despite the humiliation crawling up his spine. Around the mahogany table, 8 executives whispered and smirked, mocking the single father who dared bring his world of sippy cups and bedtime stories into their billion-dollar empire. Then the door opened. Aria Blackwood entered, ice in her veins, fire in her eyes. The room fell silent. She walked straight to Logan, ignored every superior in the room, and did the one thing no one saw coming. She kissed him. Hard, public, irreversible. The company would never be the same, neither would they. Want to see how a ruthless billionaire falls for the one man she swore to break? Stay until the end, hit that like button, and comment what city you're watching from. I want to see how far this story travels. Logan Hayes had learned early that life didn't wait for you to be ready. It threw punches when your hands were full, asked questions when your mouth was dry, and demanded answers when all you had were guesses. At 32, he'd stopped expecting fairness. He just kept moving. The apartment was small but clean, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a kitchen that barely fit a table. Emma's toys were everywhere, crayons scattered across the coffee table, a half-finished puzzle near the window, stuffed animals piled on the couch like refugees from some imaginary war. Logan didn't mind. Chaos meant life. Chaos meant she was happy. "Daddy, I can't find my other shoe." He glanced up from the stove, spatula in hand, scrambled eggs still sizzling. Emma stood in the hallway, one sneaker on, the other foot bare. Her hair was a mess, brown curls sticking up in directions gravity shouldn't allow. She wore her favorite purple shirt, the one with the cartoon bear that had seen better days. "Did you check under your bed?" "Yes." "The bathroom?" "Yes." "The fridge?" She giggled. "Daddy, that's silly." "You'd be surprised what ends up in there, he said, flipping the eggs onto 2 plates. "Go look in the closet. I saw it near your backpack last night." She darted off, footsteps thumping down the hallway. Logan plated the eggs, added toast, poured orange juice. 7 years old and already smarter than half the people he worked with. She asked questions that didn't have easy answers, saw through lies before he finished telling them, and loved with a ferocity that terrified him. Being a single father wasn't something he'd planned. It wasn't something anyone planned. But when Emma's mother walked out 3 years ago, no note, no explanation, just gone, Logan had 2 choices, fall apart or figure it out. He chose the latter, not because he was strong, because Emma needed him to be. "Found it!" She came running back, shoe in hand, grinning like she'd discovered buried treasure. Logan knelt down, helped her tie the laces. Her fingers fumbled with the loops, tongue sticking out in concentration. "You got it," he said softly. "I know." She finished the knot, looked up at him with eyes that mirrored his own, dark, serious, too old for 7. "Are we late?" "Not if we eat fast." They sat at the small table, knees bumping, plates clinking. Emma talked about school, about a boy named Marcus who ate glue, about her teacher Mrs. Patterson who had a funny laugh. Logan listened, asked questions, made her feel heard. That was the job. Not just feeding her or keeping her safe, making sure she knew she mattered. "Daddy?" "Yeah?" "Do you like your job?" He paused, fork halfway to his mouth. "Why do you ask?" "You always look tired when you come home." Honesty. That was the rule. Never lie to her, even when the truth was messy. "It's hard sometimes," he said, "but it pays the bills, and it means I get to spend time with you." "Do the people there like you?" He smiled, though it didn't reach his eyes. "Some do, some don't. That's how it goes." "I like you." "Good. You're the only one who matters." She smiled, went back to her eggs. Logan's chest tightened, 7 years old and already trying to protect him. He didn't deserve her, but he'd spend every day trying to. They finished breakfast, cleaned up, grabbed backpacks. The drive to her school was 15 minutes through morning traffic. Emma sang along to the radio, off-key and loud, completely unashamed. Logan joined in, equally terrible. By the time they pulled up to the curb, they were both laughing. "Love you, kiddo." "Love you too, Daddy." She hopped out, backpack bouncing, and ran toward the entrance. Logan waited until she disappeared inside before pulling away. The smile faded. The weight settled back onto his shoulders. Blackwood Technologies occupied a sleek glass tower downtown, 30 floors of steel and ambition. Logan parked in the underground garage, took the elevator to the 15th floor, and walked into the engineering bay. Rows of desks, fluorescent lights, the hum of servers in the background. His workspace was in the corner, cluttered with monitors and sticky notes and half-empty coffee cups. "Morning, Logan." Marcus Chen leaned against the divider, arms crossed, grinning like he knew a secret. Mid-20s, sharp dresser, too confident for someone who couldn't debug his own code. "Morning. Heard the CEO's doing floor visits today." Logan didn't look up. "And?" "And you might want to clean up your desk. Aria Blackwood doesn't strike me as the forgiving type." "I'm not worried." "You should be. She fired 3 people last month for missing a deadline. You know what she said? 'If you can't deliver, you're dead weight.' Direct quote." Logan powered on his monitors, pulled up the project files. "Then I'll deliver." Marcus laughed, shook his head. "You're something else, man. Single dad, raising a kid alone, working 60-hour weeks, and you still act like none of it touches you." "It touches me plenty, I just don't broadcast it." "Fair enough." Marcus pushed off the divider. "But seriously, if Aria shows up, keep your head down. She's got a reputation for eating people alive." Logan had heard the stories. Aria Blackwood, youngest billionaire in the tech industry, ruthless negotiator, untouchable. She'd inherited the company at 25 after her father's death and turned it into an empire. No scandals, no weaknesses, no humanity. Just results. He'd never met her, didn't want to. People like that existed in a different orbit, but the universe had other plans. Around 10, the floor went quiet. Not the normal quiet of focused work, but the tense silence of prey sensing a predator. Logan glanced up. A woman walked through the bay, heels clicking on polished tile, flanked by 2 assistants. She wore a charcoal suit, tailored to perfection, hair pulled back in a severe bun. Her face was striking, sharp cheekbones, full lips, green eyes that missed nothing. Beautiful in the way a knife was beautiful. Dangerous. Aria Blackwood. She stopped at desks, asked questions, scrutinized screens. People stammered, stumbled over answers. She didn't smile, didn't acknowledge mistakes, just moved on, leaving a trail of nervous energy in her wake. Logan went back to his work. He had a deadline in 3 days, a system integration that required precision. He didn't have time for theatrics. "Mr. Hayes?" He looked up. She stood in front of his desk, arms crossed, expression unreadable. "Yes?" "You're senior engineer on the new platform rollout." "I am." "Progress?" "On schedule, integration testing starts tomorrow." "That's not what I asked." Logan leaned back, met her gaze without flinching. 70% complete. No blockers. We'll hit the deadline. 70% 3 days out is cutting it close. It's also realistic. I don't overpromise. Her eyes narrowed. For a moment, the room held its breath. Then she turned to one of the assistants. "Mark his file. I want updates every 12 hours until launch." "Yes, ma'am." She looked back at Logan. "You have a daughter." It wasn't a question. He kept his face neutral. "I do." "Does that interfere with your work?" "No." "You're sure?" "Positive." She studied him, searching for cracks. Logan didn't give her any. After a long moment, she nodded. "Good, because failure isn't an option here. Understand?" "Understood." She walked away without another word. The tension broke. People exhaled, whispered, shot Logan sympathetic looks. Marcus appeared at his elbow. "Dude, you just stared down Aria Blackwood." "I answered her questions." "You didn't flinch." "Most people can't even look her in the eye." Logan shrugged. "She's just a person." "No, she's a force of nature, and she's got her sights on you now." "Then I'll keep my head down and do my job." But Marcus was right. Over the next few days, Logan felt the weight of her attention. Updates were requested, metrics analyzed, every line of code scrutinized. It wasn't micromanagement, it was something worse. Interest. Emma noticed the change. He came home later, looked more tired, spoke less. She didn't complain, just climbed into his lap after dinner, rested her head on his shoulder. "Daddy?" "Yeah, kiddo?" "You're doing a good job." His throat tightened. Thanks, Emma. I mean it. You work really hard. So do you. School's not easy. But I have you to help me. Who helps you? He kissed the top of her head. I've got you. That's enough. She wrapped her arms around his neck, held on tight. Logan closed his eyes, let the moment ground him. Whatever happened at work, whatever Arya Blackwood wanted, this was real. This mattered. The platform launched on schedule. No crashes, no errors. The client was thrilled. Logan's team celebrated, cracked open beers in the break room. He stayed for one drink, then headed home. Emma was waiting, homework spread across the table, babysitter chatting on the phone. How'd it go? Mrs. Nguyen asked, covering the receiver. Good. Thanks for staying late. Anytime, honey. Emma's an angel. He paid her, walked her to the door, then joined Emma at the table. She was working on a drawing, crayons scattered everywhere, tongue sticking out in concentration. What's that? It's you and me at the park. He looked closer. Two stick figures, one tall, one small, holding hands under a bright yellow sun. His chest ached. It's perfect. Can we go this weekend? Absolutely. She grinned, went back to coloring. Logan watched her, felt the exhaustion settle deep in his bones. He didn't regret any of it. Not the sleepless nights, the tight budgets, the constant juggling. But sometimes, just sometimes, he wished it wasn't so hard. The email came at 11 p.m. Subject line, Performance Review Request. Logan opened it, scanned the contents. Arya Blackwood wanted to meet. Tomorrow, 8 a.m. Her office. He closed the laptop, rubbed his eyes. Whatever this was, it wasn't good. People didn't get summoned to the top floor for congratulations. Emma was already asleep, curled up with her stuffed rabbit. Logan stood in the doorway, watched her breathe. She looked so small, so fragile. He'd built his entire life around protecting her. If he lost this job, if he couldn't provide, he stopped the thought. Fear didn't solve problems. Preparation did. He went to bed, set his alarm for 5, and tried to sleep. His mind wouldn't shut off. Questions circled, scenarios played out. By the time the alarm went off, he'd gotten maybe 3 hours. He got Emma ready, dropped her off at school, and drove to the office. The elevator ride to the 30th floor felt longer than usual. Arya's assistant, a sharp-eyed woman named Evelyn, greeted him with a tight smile. She's expecting you. Go right in. The office was massive, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, minimalist furniture, everything in shades of white and gray. Arya sat behind a glass desk, reading something on a tablet. She didn't look up. Sit. Logan sat. She finished reading, set the tablet aside, and finally met his eyes. The platform launch was flawless. Thank you. Don't thank me. I'm stating a fact. She leaned back, fingers steepled. You're good at your job, Mr. Hayes, exceptional even, but there's a problem. What kind of problem? You have a child. Logan's jaw tightened. That's not a problem. It's a fact. It becomes a problem when it affects your availability. I need engineers who can work late, travel if necessary, adapt to shifting priorities. Can you do that with a 7-year-old at home? I've been doing it for 3 years. Have you? She pulled up a file on her tablet, turned it toward him. You've turned down 2 international conferences, declined 3 after-hours projects, and leave every day at exactly 5:30. That's not commitment, that's compromise. Logan kept his voice steady. I deliver results. On time, every time. My personal life doesn't interfere with my performance, but it limits your potential. Potential doesn't raise my daughter. Arya's expression didn't change. I'm not questioning your abilities, Mr. Hayes. I'm questioning your priorities. My priority is being a good father. If that's a problem, I'll find work elsewhere. The room went silent. Logan didn't blink. He couldn't afford to. Arya studied him, something unreadable flickering across her face. Then she leaned forward. I'm not firing you, but I am watching, closely. If your situation becomes a liability, we'll revisit this conversation. Clear? Crystal. Good. You're dismissed. Logan stood, turned toward the door. Mr. Hayes. He stopped. Your daughter. What's her name? Emma. She's lucky to have you. He didn't know what to say to that, so he just nodded and left. The rest of the week passed in a blur. Work piled up, deadlines loomed. Logan pushed through, ran on coffee and stubbornness. Emma noticed. She always noticed. "Daddy, you're not eating." He looked down at his plate. She was right. He'd been pushing food around for 10 minutes. "Sorry, kiddo, just tired." "Is your boss being mean again?" He smiled despite himself. "Who said she's mean?" "You did. Last night, you said she's like a dragon." "I said she breathes fire. That's different." "Dragons breathe fire." "Fair point." Emma reached across the table, patted his hand. "It's okay. Dragons can be nice sometimes. Maybe she just needs a friend." Logan's throat tightened. Maybe. Or maybe she needs a cookie. Cookies make everyone nicer. He laughed, the sound surprising even himself. "You might be onto something." That night, after Emma went to bed, Logan sat on the couch with a beer he didn't really want. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Tomorrow, 7 a.m., my office. Come alone." He stared at the message. No signature, but he knew who it was. Sleep didn't come easy that night either. The next morning, he stood outside Arya's office at 6:55. Evelyn wasn't at her desk yet. The door was slightly ajar. He knocked. "Come in." Arya stood by the window, coffee in hand, silhouetted against the sunrise. She didn't turn around. "Close the door." He did. "I've been thinking about our conversation," she said, "about priorities." "And?" "You're right. Results matter more than hours logged. But here's what you don't understand, Mr. Hayes. This company doesn't run on 9-to-5 mentality. It runs on people willing to sacrifice everything. I have. My entire life. My father built this place from nothing, and when he died, I made a choice. No distractions, no weaknesses. Just the work." She turned, eyes sharp. "You have a distraction. A very loud, very visible one. And while I respect your commitment to her, I need to know you're equally committed here." Logan held her gaze. "I am. Prove it." "How?" She set her coffee down, walked toward him, stopped a few feet away. "I'm launching a new division. High risk, high reward. I need someone who can lead the technical side. Someone I trust. Someone who won't fold under pressure. You want me. I want to see if you're worth the investment. And if I say no, then you stay exactly where you are. Safe, comfortable, unremarkable." Logan's mind raced. More responsibility meant more hours, more stress, but it also meant security, stability, a future. "What's the timeline?" 6 months to prototype, 12 to launch." "And Emma?" "She's your problem, not mine." He should have walked away. Should have told her to find someone else. But the truth was, he needed this. Needed to prove he could still build something, still matter beyond bedtime stories and school pickups. "I'm in." Arya's lips curved into something that almost resembled a smile. "Good. We start Monday." She extended her hand. Logan shook it. Her grip was firm, controlled, just like everything else about her. But for the briefest moment as their hands touched, something shifted in her eyes. Something almost human. Then it was gone. Monday arrived too fast. Logan dropped Emma at school, watched her disappear through the doors with her backpack bouncing, then sat in the parking lot for 5 minutes, staring at nothing. The new position meant longer hours. It meant missing bedtimes, scrambling for childcare, living on even less sleep than he already did. But it also meant opportunity. A chance to build something that mattered, to prove he wasn't just surviving, but actually thriving. He pulled into the Blackwood parking garage at 7:15. The building felt different this early, quieter, emptier, like a stage before the actors arrived. He rode the elevator to the 30th floor, half expecting Evelyn to stop him, but the reception desk was empty. Arya's office door stood open. She was already at her desk, surrounded by blueprints and prototypes, hair pulled back, glasses perched on her nose. She glanced up as he entered. "You're late." "It's 7:07. I said 7. Logan set his bag down. Emma needed help with her shoes. Arya's jaw tightened, but she didn't argue. She just gestured to the empty chair across from her. "Sit." We have work to do. The next 3 hours passed in a blur of technical specs, market analysis, and risk assessments. Arya didn't waste words. She asked sharp questions, demanded concrete answers, and moved on before Logan could catch his breath. By 10, his head was spinning. "Break," she said abruptly, standing and walking to the window. Logan rubbed his eyes. "How long have you been here?" "Since 5. "That's insane. That's discipline." She didn't turn around. "You think success happens by accident? You think this company survived my father's death because I worked normal hours? I think you're human. Humans need sleep. Sleep is a luxury I can't afford. Then you're going to burn out." She finally looked at him, expression unreadable. "Is that concern, Mr. Hayes? It's common sense." "I don't need common sense. I need results." "You need both." The silence stretched. Then, unexpectedly, Arya smiled. Not the polite boardroom smile she used in meetings, but something genuine. Small, fleeting, almost reluctant. "You're not like the others." "What others?" "The people who work here. They agree with everything I say." "Nod along. Tell me I'm brilliant even when I'm wrong." "Maybe they're scared. Maybe they're smart." She returned to her desk, sat down. "But you're not scared, are you?" "Of you? No." "Why not?" Logan leaned back, choosing his words carefully. "Because you're just a person doing a job. A hard job, yeah, but still just a job. I've got bigger things to worry about. Like your daughter. Like my daughter." Arya studied him for a long moment. Then she pulled out a folder, slid it across the desk. "Read this. We'll reconvene tomorrow." Logan took the folder, stood. "Same time?" 7 sharp. Don't be late." He left before she could see him smile. The next few weeks fell into a brutal rhythm. Early mornings with Arya, full days managing his regular workload, late nights catching up on the new project. Emma's babysitter became a permanent fixture. Mrs. Nguyen was patient, kind, but Logan saw the exhaustion in her eyes too. Everyone was stretched too thin. Emma handled it better than he expected. She did her homework without being asked, put herself to bed on time, never complained. But she drew more, obsessively. Pictures covered the fridge, the coffee table, the walls of her room. Always the same theme. 2 stick figures holding hands. "Who's that?" Logan asked one night, pointing to a new drawing. "You and me." "Where are we going?" "Nowhere. We're just together." His chest tightened. "You okay, kiddo?" "Yeah." She didn't look up from her coloring. "Are you?" "I'm fine." "You're lying." Logan blinked. "What?" You do this thing with your mouth when you lie. It gets tight." "I don't." "See? You're doing it now." He sat down beside her, pulled her into his lap. She came willingly, rested her head on his shoulder. "I'm tired," he admitted. "But I'm okay. I promise." "Do you like your new job?" "It's challenging." "That's not an answer." "Too smart. Way too smart." "I like parts of it," he said carefully. "I like building something new, but I don't like being away from you so much." "Then quit." "It's not that simple." "Why not?" "Because we need the money. Because this could mean better things for us. A bigger apartment, maybe. Or a house with a yard." Emma was quiet for a moment, then, "I don't need a yard, I just need you." Logan kissed the top of her head, didn't trust himself to speak. At work, the whispers started. He noticed them in the break room, the hallways, the engineering bay. People talking in low voices, eyes following him when he passed. Marcus finally confirmed what Logan already suspected. "They're saying you're sleeping with her." Logan nearly choked on his coffee. "What?" "Arya, the CEO. People think you're... That's ridiculous." "Is it? You're meeting with her every morning. Closed doors, special projects, preferential treatment. It's work, just work." Marcus raised his hands. "Hey, I believe you. But the rest of them? They see a single dad who suddenly gets promoted and starts spending all his time with the boss. They're going to talk. Let them." "Logan, man, you don't get it. This isn't just gossip. It's dangerous. Arya's got enemies here, people who'd love to see her screw up. And you're the perfect ammunition. I'm not doing anything wrong. Doesn't matter. Perception is reality in this place. Logan drained his coffee, crushed the cup. Then I'll change the perception. But changing perception required energy he didn't have. The project consumed everything. Deadlines accelerated, technical challenges multiplied, and Arya's expectations never lowered. She pushed harder, demanded more, accepted nothing less than perfection. And slowly, Logan began to see cracks. She snapped at assistants over minor mistakes, fired a contractor mid-presentation for wasting her time, worked 18-hour days without breaking, fueled by coffee and sheer willpower. It wasn't discipline, it was destruction. One morning, he arrived to find her asleep at her desk, glasses askew, reports scattered around her. He stood in the doorway, unsure whether to wake her or leave. Before he could decide, she stirred. "What time is it?" 7:10. She sat up, rubbed her face. "I told you not to be late. You were asleep." "I wasn't sleeping. I was thinking." "With your eyes closed?" "Hayes, when's the last time you went home?" She glared at him. "That's none of your business. It is when you're making decisions that affect my work." "I'm fine." "You look like hell." Arya stood abruptly, crossed to the window. Her reflection in the glass looked fragile, almost translucent. "You don't understand what's at stake here." "Then explain it to me." She was quiet for a long time. When she finally spoke, her voice was different, softer, vulnerable. "My father built this company with his bare hands. He sacrificed everything, his health, his marriage, his relationship with me. When he died, everyone expected me to fail. 25 years old, no experience, running a billion-dollar empire. They waited for me to crumble. But you didn't." "No, I didn't." She turned, met his eyes. "I worked harder than anyone thought possible, proved I belonged here. But the moment I slip, the moment I show weakness, they'll tear me apart. So I can't slip, ever." Logan crossed the room, stopped a few feet away. "You're not a machine, Arya. You can't keep running on empty." "I don't have a choice." "Everyone has a choice. Not me." Her voice cracked, just barely. "Not when everything I am is tied to this place." He wanted to argue, wanted to tell her she was wrong, that there was more to life than spreadsheets and shareholders, but he recognized the look in her eyes, the same look he saw in the mirror every morning, the look of someone holding on by their fingernails, terrified of what happened if they let go. "Take a break," he said quietly. "One day. Let someone else handle things." "I can't." "You can, just one day. And if something goes wrong, then we fix it." She searched his face looking for something, judgment maybe, or pity. She didn't find either. "Why do you care?" she asked. "Because you're human, and humans break." "I won't. Everyone does eventually." Arya turned away, shoulders tight. "Get to work, Hayes. We're behind schedule." He didn't push, just gathered his files and left. That afternoon, Emma's school called. Logan was in the middle of a code review when his phone buzzed. The principal's name flashed on the screen. His stomach dropped. "Mr. Hayes, this is Principal Morrison. Emma's fine, but we need you to come pick her up." "What happened?" "She got into an altercation with another student. We can discuss details when you arrive." Logan was out the door before the call ended. He found Emma sitting in the principal's office, arms crossed, face red. A boy sat across from her, holding an ice pack to his nose. The boy's mother hovered nearby, glaring daggers. "Mr. Hayes?" Principal Morrison stood, gestured to an empty chair. "Thank you for coming. What happened?" "Emma punched Tyler." Logan looked at his daughter. She didn't meet his eyes. "Is that true?" "Yes." "Why?" "He said something mean." Tyler's mother scoffed. "Your daughter is violent. She needs to be expelled." "Expelled?" Logan turned to her. "She's 7. She broke my son's nose." "It's not broken," Principal Morrison said calmly. "Just bruised. But Emma, you can't hit people, no matter what they say." "He called my dad a loser." Emma's voice shook. "He said we're poor, and that's why I don't have a mom." The room went silent. Logan's jaw clenched. He looked at Tyler, then at Tyler's mother. "Is that what your son said?" The woman's face flushed. Boys will be boys. He didn't mean, he meant it, Emma said, tears streaming now. And he said it before. Lots of times. I told the teacher and nothing happened, so I made it stop. Principal Morrison sighed. Emma, I understand you were upset, but violence isn't the answer. Then what is? Emma looked at her, then at Logan. What am I supposed to do when someone's mean and nobody helps? Logan's heart shattered. He knelt beside her chair, took her hands. You did the right thing telling the teacher, but hitting isn't okay, even when people deserve it. So I just let them be mean? No, you tell me, and I'll handle it. But you're always at work. The words hit like a freight train. Logan pulled her into a hug, felt her sob into his shoulder. Over her head, he met the principal's eyes. What's the suspension? 3 days. Fine, we'll take it. Tyler's mother started to protest, but Principal Morrison cut her off. Tyler will also be suspended for bullying. 3 days. That's not fair. It's more than fair, Mrs. Chen. Your son's behavior has been reported multiple times. This ends now. Logan didn't wait to hear more. He carried Emma to the car, buckled her in, and drove home in silence. She cried the whole way. So did he, though he tried to hide it. That night, after Emma fell asleep, Logan sat on the couch with a beer and stared at the wall. His phone buzzed. Arya, where were you this afternoon? He typed back, family emergency. Is everything okay? No. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Do you need time off? Logan stared at the message. The old him would have said yes, would have taken the days, focused on Emma, dealt with work later. But the new him, the one trying to prove he could handle everything, hesitated. I'll be in tomorrow. Hayes, I said I'll be in. He turned off the phone before she could respond. The next morning, he called Mrs. Nguyen, arranged for her to watch Emma during the suspension. Emma clung to him at the door. I'm sorry, Daddy. I know, kiddo. We'll talk more tonight, okay? Are you mad? No, I'm proud of you. She blinked. Why? Because you stood up for yourself. You just need to find a better way to do it next time. She hugged him tight, then let go. Logan arrived at Arya's office at 7 sharp. She was waiting, arms crossed. You look terrible. Good morning to you too. What happened? Emma got suspended 3 days? Arya's eyebrows rose. For what? Punching a kid who called me a loser. A pause. Then, unexpectedly, Arya laughed. Not the polite corporate laugh, but a real one, full and surprised. That's not funny, Logan said, but he was smiling despite himself. No, it's definitely funny. She sat down, gestured for him to do the same. Is she okay? She's 7 and suspended. She thinks she let me down. Did she? No. The system let her down. She reported the bullying. Nothing happened. So she took matters into her own hands. Arya was quiet for a moment. Sounds familiar. What do you mean? When I took over this company, people undermined me constantly, whispered behind my back, questioned every decision. I reported it, filed complaints. Nothing changed. So I stopped playing by their rules and made my own. Did it work? I'm still here, aren't I? Logan leaned back, studied her. You really don't let anything go, do you? Can't afford to. That sounds exhausting. It is. She met his eyes, but it's the only way I know how to survive. They worked in silence for a while. Then, around noon, Arya's assistant knocked. Ma'am, the board meeting's in 10. Arya nodded, stood. Then she paused, looked at Logan. Take the afternoon off. What? You heard me? Go home. Be with your daughter. I don't need. Hayes, I'm not asking. I'm telling you, go. He wanted to argue, but the exhaustion won. Thank you. Don't thank me. Just be back tomorrow. He left before she could change her mind. Emma's face lit up when he walked through the door at 1 p.m. Daddy, you're home early. Surprise. They spent the afternoon at the park. Emma ran, climbed, laughed. Logan pushed her on the swings until his arms ached, bought her ice cream from the truck, sat on a bench while she made friends with a stray dog. For 3 hours, nothing else existed. On the way home, she held his hand. "Daddy?" "Yeah?" "Your boss isn't so bad." He smiled. "What makes you say that?" "She let you come home. Dragons don't do that." "Maybe she's not a dragon after all. Maybe she just needed a cookie." Logan laughed, squeezed her hand. "Maybe." But the peace didn't last. The next week, the whispers turned vicious. Someone leaked a photo, Logan and Arya, in her office, late at night, standing close. The angle made it look intimate. Within hours, it was all over the company intranet. Marcus found him in the hallway. "Have you seen this?" Logan looked at the phone, felt his stomach drop. "That's not what it looks like." "I know, but they don't care." By lunch, the rumors had spread beyond the building. Logan's email inbox filled with passive-aggressive messages, thinly veiled insults. Someone left a note on his desk. "Hope she's worth it." He crumpled it, threw it away. At 2, he was summoned to HR. The meeting was short, brutal. They asked about his relationship with Arya, his work hours, his performance. He answered honestly, kept his temper in check, but the message was clear. He was under investigation. When he finally returned to his desk, Marcus was waiting. "They're coming for you, man." "I didn't do anything wrong." "Doesn't matter. You're collateral damage." Logan sat down, buried his face in his hands. "This is insane." "Well, welcome to corporate politics." That night, Arya called him directly. "I heard about HR. Word travels fast. Hayes, I'm sorry. This is my fault." "How is this your fault?" "Because I brought you into this. Because people see me as untouchable and you as vulnerable. They're using you to get to me." "So what do we do?" She was quiet for a long moment. "I'll handle it." "Arya, I said I'll handle it." She hung up before he could respond. The next morning, Logan arrived to chaos. Arya had called an emergency all-hands meeting. The entire company crammed into the main auditorium, whispering, speculating. Arya walked onto the stage. No notes, no hesitation. "I'm aware of the rumors circulating about myself and Mr. Hayes. Let me be clear. They are baseless, unprofessional, and a waste of everyone's time." The room went silent. Logan Hayes is one of the most talented engineers this company has ever employed. His work on our new platform is exceptional. Any suggestion that his success is tied to anything other than merit is not only insulting to him, but to me. If anyone has evidence of impropriety, present it now. Otherwise, this conversation ends here. No one spoke. "Good. Now get back to work." She walked off the stage without waiting for applause. Logan found her in her office an hour later. "You didn't have to do that." "Yes, I did." "They're going to hate you. They already do." She looked at him, something fierce in her eyes. "But they'll respect you, and that's what matters." Logan didn't know what to say, so he just nodded. For the first time since this whole mess started, he thought maybe, just maybe, they'd survive this after all. But then Emma drew another picture. 3 stick figures this time. 2 tall, 1 small, all holding hands. Logan stared at the drawing for a long time that night. Emma had already gone to bed, leaving the picture on the kitchen table like an offering. 3 stick figures under a lopsided sun. The tallest one had dark hair. The middle one wore a dress. The smallest held both their hands. He should have thrown it away. Should have sat Emma down and explained that some things weren't possible, that life didn't work like her drawings. But he couldn't, because part of him, the part that was so damn tired of doing everything alone, wanted it to be real. His phone buzzed. Marcus. "Dude, check the company forum, now." Logan opened his laptop, navigated to the internal site. The top post had over 300 comments. The title made his blood run cold. Nepotism at the top, how one engineer slept his way to success. The post was anonymous, but the details were specific. Meeting times, project assignments, the photo from last week. Someone had even pulled his performance reviews from before Arya's involvement and compared them to after. The implication was clear. His success wasn't earned. The comments were worse. Always knew something was off about that guy. Single dad playing the sympathy card. Classic manipulation. Blackwood's smarter than this. Unless she's not. Logan closed the laptop before he put his fist through it. The next morning, he walked into the office expecting stares. What he got was worse. Silence. People looked away when he passed. Conversations died mid-sentence. The break room cleared when he entered. He was a ghost. Invisible, except when people wanted to whisper about him. Marcus caught him at his desk. HR wants to see you again. When? 10 minutes ago. Logan grabbed his phone and headed upstairs. The HR director, a thin woman named Patricia with a permanent expression of disappointment, sat behind her desk flanked by two legal representatives. Mr. Hayes, sit. He sat. We've received multiple complaints regarding your conduct. What conduct? Inappropriate relationship with a superior, preferential treatment, creating a hostile work environment. Logan's jaw clenched. I haven't done any of that. The evidence suggests otherwise. What evidence? An anonymous forum post? Patricia slid a folder across the desk. These are witness statements. Colleagues who've observed concerning behavior. Logan flipped through the pages. Most were vague. He and Arya worked late, stood too close, spoke in low voices. One claimed he'd been seen leaving her office at midnight. Another said Arya defended him with unusual emotion during meetings. This is all circumstantial. It's enough to warrant an investigation. An investigation into what? Working hard? Being good at my job? Mr. Hayes, I understand you're frustrated, but when multiple employees raise concerns, multiple employees who are jealous, who want someone to blame for their own failures. Patricia's expression didn't change. Replacing you on administrative leave pending the outcome of our review. The words hit like a punch. You're suspending me. With pay, you'll retain your benefits and salary, but you cannot enter the building or access company systems until this is resolved. How long? 2 weeks, possibly longer. Logan stood, hands shaking. This is insane. I've done nothing wrong. That's what the investigation will determine. He left before he said something he'd regret. The elevator ride down felt endless. His mind raced, trying to figure out next steps, backup plans. He had savings, but not much. 2 weeks without work meant 2 weeks of uncertainty. And if they fired him? The elevator doors opened on the 30th floor. Arya stood there, flanked by 2 board members. She froze when she saw him. Hayes. Ms. Blackwood. The board members looked between them, eyebrows raised. Logan stepped out, forced himself to walk past without stopping. But he felt her eyes on him the whole way. His phone rang before he reached the parking garage. Hayes, wait. He stopped, turned. Arya stood 20 feet away, alone now, slightly out of breath. What happened? Administrative leave 2 weeks. Her face went pale. They can't do that. They just did. I'll fix this. How? You already defended me once. That's what started this whole mess. Then I'll do it again. Arya, stop. Logan ran a hand through his hair. Every time you defend me, it makes things worse. People think we're... He couldn't finish the sentence. I don't care what people think. Well, I do, because I've got a daughter who depends on me and a career that's currently circling the drain. Arya flinched like he'd slapped her. I never meant for this to happen. I know, but it did anyway. He walked away before she could respond. Emma knew something was wrong the moment he picked her up from school. You're early again. Yeah. Is it a good early or a bad early? Logan forced a smile. Just an early. She studied him with those 2 old eyes. You're doing the mouth thing. I'm fine, kiddo. Liar. He took her to the park because he didn't know what else to do. She played on the swings while he sat on a bench, staring at his phone. 3 missed calls from Arya. 2 voicemails he couldn't bring himself to listen to. A text from Marcus. This is bullshit. Everyone knows it. It didn't matter what everyone knew. Perception was reality, just like Marcus had said. Daddy, push me! He got up, pushed Emma on the swing. She laughed, kicked her feet, demanded higher. For a few minutes, the world narrowed to just this. His daughter, the squeak of chains, the wind in the trees. Then his phone rang again. Arya. He let it go to voicemail. That night, after Emma went to bed, he finally listened to her messages. The first was short. Call me back, please. The second was longer. Hayes, I spoke to the board. They're overreacting. I can fix this, but I need you to trust me. Just call me back. The third was barely a whisper. I'm sorry. Logan deleted all three. The next 2 weeks were the longest of his life. He filled the days with errands, cleaning, cooking elaborate meals Emma barely touched. She sensed his anxiety, started having nightmares, crawled into his bed at 2 a.m., and wouldn't let go. He held her, stroked her hair, promised everything would be okay. He wasn't sure he believed it anymore. Marcus texted daily updates. The investigation was a joke, HR interviewing people who hadn't worked directly with Logan, ignoring anyone who'd vouch for him. The forum post had been traced to a senior engineer who'd been passed over for the project. But it didn't matter, the damage was done. On day 9, Arya showed up at his apartment. Logan answered the door in sweatpants and an old t-shirt, unshaven, exhausted. She looked immaculate as always, but there were dark circles under her eyes. What are you doing here? I needed to see you. Arya, please, just 5 minutes. He should have closed the door, should have told her to leave. Instead, he stepped aside. She walked into his small living room, took in the toys scattered everywhere, the drawings on the fridge, the half-finished puzzle. Her expression softened in a way he'd never seen before. This is where you live. Yeah. It's... She trailed off, searching for words. Small, messy, not what you're used to. Lived in. She turned to face him. It feels like a home. Logan crossed his arms. Why are you here? The investigation's almost over. They're going to clear you. How do you know? Because I made them. Arya, I told the board if they fired you, I'd resign. The air left his lungs. You what? I called their bluff, told them this whole thing was a witch hunt, and if they wanted to lose both of us, go ahead. They backed down. Logan stared at her, unable to process what he was hearing. You threatened to quit. For me. Yes. Why? Because you're the best engineer I have. Because this investigation is garbage. Because... She stopped, looked away. Because what? Arya was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was different, smaller. Because I'm tired of watching good people get destroyed by politics. My father taught me that business was war, that you couldn't trust anyone, couldn't show weakness, couldn't let emotions cloud judgment. And I believed him. For years I believed him. She turned back, eyes bright. But you showed me something different. You work harder than anyone I know. You never complain, and you do it all while raising a daughter alone. You have every reason to be bitter and angry, but you're not. You're just... She shook her head. You're good, Hayes, actually good. And I couldn't let them destroy that. Logan's throat tightened. You barely know me. I know enough. No, you don't. You don't know that I'm scared every single day. That I lie awake at night wondering if I'm screwing up Emma's life. That sometimes I'm so tired I can barely stand, but I do it anyway, because I have no choice. That's exactly why I know you. Arya stepped closer. Because I see it. The exhaustion, the fear, the constant fight to keep going. I've been fighting too, Hayes, just in different ways, and I'm so tired of fighting alone. The confession hung between them, raw and exposed. Before Logan could respond, a small voice came from the hallway. Daddy? They both turned. Emma stood there in her pajamas, rubbing her eyes, clutching her stuffed rabbit. Hey, kiddo, what are you doing up? I heard voices. She looked at Arya, curious but not afraid. Are you the dragon lady? Logan winced. Arya blinked, then, impossibly, smiled. I suppose I am. Emma walked closer, studying her. You're prettier than I thought. Dragons are usually green. Emma, Logan started, but Arya laughed. Thank you, I think. Are you making my daddy sad? The question was innocent, direct. Arya knelt down to Emma's level. I'm trying not to. I'm actually trying to help him. How? By making sure the people at work treat him fairly. Emma considered this. Then she held out her stuffed rabbit. This is Mr. Hoppy. He helps me when I'm scared. Do you want to hold him? Arya looked at the worn toy, then at Emma, something crumbling in her expression. She took the rabbit carefully, like it was made of glass. "Thank you, Emma. That's very kind. You can give him back when you're not scared anymore." Logan's chest ached watching this. Arya, untouchable, ruthless Arya, holding his daughter's favorite toy with trembling hands. "I should go," Arya said quietly, standing. She handed the rabbit back to Emma. "Thank you for letting me borrow him. You can come back if you want. Daddy makes really good pancakes on Saturdays." Arya glanced at Logan, something unreadable in her eyes. "I'd like that." Logan walked her to the door. They stood in the hallway, the space between them charged with everything they hadn't said. "Hayes, thank you," he interrupted, "for the investigation, for everything. Don't thank me yet, this isn't over. I know, but still." She nodded, turned to leave, then stopped. "Emma's right, you know. About the pancakes. You should make them for her this Saturday." "I will." "Good." She walked away, heels clicking on tile, then paused at the elevator. "Hayes? Yeah?" "You're not screwing up her life. You're giving her everything that matters." The elevator doors closed before he could respond. Logan returned to work on day 14. The office felt different. People still stared, but the whispers had shifted. Some looked embarrassed. Others avoided him entirely. Marcus met him at his desk with coffee and a grin. "Welcome back, man. Good to be back. Word is Arya went nuclear on the board. Threatened to walk if they didn't clear you. I heard. She also fired the guy who wrote that forum post, and 3 of his friends. HR's scrambling to cover their asses." Logan sat down, logged into his computer. "She didn't need to do that." "Yeah, she did. You should have seen her in that board meeting. Coldest I've ever heard her. Said anyone who questioned your integrity was questioning hers, and she doesn't negotiate with people too stupid to recognize talent." Despite everything, Logan smiled. That sounded like her. The morning passed in a blur of emails and catch-up. At noon, his phone buzzed. A calendar invite from Arya. Project review, 2 p.m., conference room B. He showed up 5 minutes early. The room was empty except for her. Close the door. He did. "How was your first day back?" "Fine. Awkward, but fine. It'll get better." "Will it?" Arya met his eyes. "Yes, because we're going to finish this project, launch it successfully, and prove every single one of them wrong." "Just like that?" "Just like that." Logan sat down across from her. "You know they're going to keep watching us, waiting for us to slip up." "Let them watch." I'm done apologizing for defending you, Hayes. I'm done pretending I don't respect you because it makes other people uncomfortable. You earned your place here, and if they can't accept that, they can leave." Her voice was steel, but her hand shook slightly on the table. Logan noticed. "You're scared." She laughed, sharp and bitter. "Terrified. The board's 1 bad quarter away from forcing me out. Investors are circling, and I just threatened to quit over an engineer most of them have never heard of." "So why'd you do it?" "Because..." She stopped, gathered herself. "Because my father taught me that power is everything, that the only thing that matters is winning. But he died alone, Hayes, in a hospital room with no one who actually cared about him, just lawyers and accountants counting his money." She looked at him, eyes bright. "I don't want that. I don't want to spend my life building an empire with no one to share it with. And you've built something real, something that matters. Emma loves you, actually loves you. Not because of what you can give her or what you represent, just because you're you." Logan's throat tightened. "She's my daughter. She's supposed to love me." "Is she?" "Because my father was my father and I hated him by the end. So no, Hayes, it's not guaranteed. You earned it, the same way you've earned everything else in your life." The silence stretched between them, heavy with meaning. Then Arya's phone rang. She glanced at it, tensed. "I need to take this." "Go ahead." She answered, listened, and her face went pale. "When? How bad?" A pause. "I'll be there in 10. She hung up, stood abruptly. The client pulled out, the entire contract. They're citing instability in leadership. Logan felt his stomach drop. "Because of the investigation?" "Because of me. Because I threatened to quit. She grabbed her bag, headed for the door. I need to fix this. Arya, wait. Not now, Hayes. She was gone before he could argue. The rest of the day dissolved into chaos. Emergency meetings, damage control, frantic calls to investors. Logan buried himself in work, trying not to think about what this meant. If the client was gone, so was their funding. If funding dried up, the project died. And if the project died, so did his job. He stayed late, reviewing code, running tests, looking for anything that might salvage the situation. Around 8, his phone rang. The school. Mr. Hayes, this is the after-hours coordinator. Emma's still here. His blood went cold. What? I arranged for Mrs. Nguyen to pick her up. She called to cancel. Family emergency. We've been trying to reach you for 2 hours. Logan was already grabbing his keys. I'm on my way. He made the drive in 12 minutes, ran 3 red lights, didn't care. Emma sat in the office, small and scared, eyes red from crying. Daddy! He scooped her up, held her tight. I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry. I thought you forgot me. Never. I'd never forget you. But the damage was done. She cried the whole way home, wouldn't let him go even after they got inside. He sat on the couch with her in his lap, rocking her like she was 2 years old again, whispering apologies she didn't fully accept. When she finally fell asleep, he carried her to bed, then collapsed on the couch. His phone lit up. Arya. Client's gone. Board's meeting tomorrow to discuss next steps. I might not survive this. Logan stared at the message, torn between responding and throwing his phone across the room. Then another text. I'm sorry I dragged you into this. He typed back, You didn't drag me anywhere. I chose this. Still, you deserve better. So do you. The 3 dots appeared and disappeared multiple times. Then, thank you for saying that. Logan set the phone down, closed his eyes. Somewhere in the chaos of corporate politics and investigations and missing clients, something had shifted between them. Something neither of them was ready to name. But it was there, real and terrifying and completely impossible. And Logan had absolutely no idea what to do about it. The board meeting started at 8 a.m. Logan knew because Arya texted him at 7:45. Going in, wish me luck. He wanted to respond with something reassuring, something that would make the knot in his chest loosen. Instead, he typed, You don't need luck, you need facts, and you have those. Her reply came instantly. Facts don't matter when people have already made up their minds. Logan stared at his phone, then at Emma eating cereal across the table. She kicked her feet, hummed off key, completely oblivious to the fact that their entire world might collapse in the next hour. Daddy, you're doing the thing again. What thing? The staring thing, when you look at stuff but don't really see it. He forced a smile. Just thinking. About the dragon lady? His eyebrows shot up. Why would you think that? Emma shrugged, spooned more cereal into her mouth. Because you get quiet when you think about her. Different quiet than work quiet. 7 years old and reading him like a book. Logan reached across the table, ruffled her hair. Finish your breakfast. We're going to be late. The drive to school was quieter than usual. Emma kept glancing at him, worrying her bottom lip the way she did when she wanted to ask something but wasn't sure she should. Finally, as they pulled up to the curb, she spoke. Is she going to be okay? Logan turned in his seat. Who? The dragon lady. You're worried about her. He could have deflected. Should have deflected. But he'd promised himself never to lie to Emma, and he wasn't about to start now. Yeah, kiddo, I'm worried. Why? Because she's got some hard choices to make today, and sometimes even strong people need help. Emma unbuckled her seatbelt, leaned over and hugged him tight. Then you should help her. I don't know if I can. You helped me when Tyler was mean. You can help her too. Logan kissed the top of her head. When'd you get so smart? I was born smart. You just keep figuring it out. She hopped out of the car, backpack bouncing, and ran toward the school entrance. Logan watched until she disappeared inside, then sat there for another 5 minutes trying to figure out what the hell he was supposed to do. His phone buzzed. Marcus. Dude, get to the office, now. What's happening? Just get here. Logan made it to Blackwood Technologies in 20 minutes. The lobby was packed, employees clustered in groups, whispering, phones out. He caught fragments of conversation as he pushed toward the elevators. Heard the board's voting to remove her. About time, honestly. 3 investors pulled out this morning. The elevator ride up felt like drowning. Logan's hands clenched and unclenched, his mind racing through scenarios. If they fired Arya, the project died. If the project died, half the engineering team would be laid off, including him. But that wasn't what made his chest tight. The doors opened on 15. Marcus grabbed him immediately. Conference room, now. What's going on? Senior staff meeting. Arya called it 20 minutes ago. Everyone's losing their minds. They pushed into the conference room. It was standing room only. Engineers, managers, department heads all crammed together. The energy was tense, uncertain. Then the door at the far end opened, and Arya walked in. She looked like she'd been through a war. Hair slightly disheveled, suit jacket missing, eyes blazing. She didn't sit, just stood at the head of the table and waited for silence. "I'm sure you've all heard the rumors by now," she said, voice cutting through the murmurs. "So let me give you facts. 3 investors withdrew funding this morning. The board held an emergency meeting to discuss my leadership. They voted 4-3. The room held its breath. "I'm staying." Relief crashed through Logan so hard he had to grip the back of a chair. "But there are conditions," Arya continued. "The new platform launches in 6 weeks, or we lose the remaining investors. If we fail, the board will force a restructure, which means layoffs. Significant ones." Someone in the back spoke up. "How many jobs?" 40% of current staff. The room erupted. People shouted questions, objections, panic. Arya let them vent for 30 seconds, then raised her hand. Silence fell immediately. "I know you're scared. You should be. This is the biggest risk this company has ever taken. But here's what I also know. We have the best engineering team in the industry. We have a platform that will revolutionize how businesses manage data integration. And we have 6 weeks to prove it." She looked directly at Logan. "Mr. Hayes will lead the technical team. Full authority on staffing, resources, timeline. If he says we need something, you give it to him. No bureaucracy, no approvals, no delays. Understood?" Heads nodded around the room. "Good. We start today." Meeting adjourned. People filed out, still murmuring, still worried. Logan stayed behind. Arya gathered her notes, hands trembling slightly. "You okay?" She didn't look up. Define okay. Alive, employed, not actively being stabbed in the back. A small smile cracked through her exhaustion. Then, yes, barely. Logan moved closer, lowered his voice. "You put me in charge?" "I did." "Why?" "Because you're the only person in this building I trust completely." She finally met his eyes. "And because if we're going down, I'd rather do it with someone who actually gives a damn." "We're not going down." "Hayes, I mean it. 6 weeks is tight, but it's doable. I've got the core architecture done. We just need to integrate the modules, run the tests, polish the interface." Arya studied him, searching for false confidence. She didn't find any. "You really think we can do this?" "I know we can." She exhaled, some of the tension leaving her shoulders. "Okay, then let's get to work." The next 6 weeks were brutal. Logan assembled a team of 12, the best engineers he could find, people who didn't care about politics, just results. They worked 16-hour days fueled by coffee and sheer determination. Arya was there through all of it, not micromanaging but supporting, removing obstacles, fighting battles with the board so the team could focus. And slowly, impossibly, they started to pull it off. Emma noticed the change in him. He was exhausted, sure, but it was different now. Purpose instead of desperation. He came home late, but talked more, smiled more, seemed lighter somehow. "You like your job again," she said one night over dinner. "What makes you say that?" "You stopped doing the mouth thing." Logan laughed. "The mouth thing's not very scientific, kiddo." "It works, though." She twirled spaghetti on her fork. "Is the dragon lady being nicer?" She's... He paused, choosing words carefully. "She's not a dragon. She's just someone who's been hurt before and learned to protect herself." Like when I got hurt by Tyler and didn't want to play at recess anymore? Exactly like that. Emma chewed thoughtfully. But you told me hiding doesn't fix things. You have to be brave. I did say that. So she should be brave too. Logan reached across the table, squeezed Emma's hand. When did you get so wise? I told you. I was born this way. 2 weeks before launch, the system crashed. Not a minor glitch. A complete catastrophic failure that wiped 3 days of integration work. Logan stood in the server room at 2 a.m., staring at error logs that made no sense, feeling the weight of 40% of the company's jobs pressing down on his shoulders. Talk to me. He turned. Arya stood in the doorway, still in her suit despite the hour, eyes sharp despite the exhaustion. We've got a corruption in the core database. Backup restoration isn't working. We've lost 72 hours of progress. How long to rebuild? A week, maybe more. We don't have a week. I know. Arya walked into the room, stood beside him, studied the screens. What if we don't rebuild? What? The corrupted section? It's the legacy integration, right? The bridge to old systems. Logan pulled up the architecture diagram. Yeah, but clients need that. It's the whole selling point. Smooth transition from their current setup. What if we cut it? Launch without backwards compatibility. Force clients to migrate fully. That's insane. Half our prospects will walk. Maybe, but the other half will see it as an opportunity to modernize completely, and will actually have a product to sell instead of vaporware. Logan ran the numbers in his head. It was risky, reckless even, but it might work. The board will never approve it. Arya's smile was sharp. The board gave you full authority, remember? You don't need their approval, you need mine, and you have it. They worked through the night, restructuring the platform, cutting the legacy support, streamlining everything. By dawn, they had a new plan. Leaner, cleaner, more ambitious, and absolutely terrifying. The team took the news hard. Half thought it was brilliant. The other half thought they were insane. But they trusted Logan, and they trusted Arya, so they got to work. Launch day arrived faster than anyone was ready for. The presentation was scheduled for 2 p.m. in the main auditorium. Investors, clients, press, everyone who mattered would be there. Logan spent the morning running final tests, checking every line of code, looking for anything that might break. At noon, Emma's school called. Mr. Hayes, I'm so sorry to bother you. Emma's running a fever. Can you pick her up? Logan's stomach dropped. How high? 102. She's asking for you. He looked at the clock. 2 hours until the most important presentation of his career. The presentation that determined whether he kept his job, whether the company survived, whether any of this had been worth it. I'll be there in 15 minutes. Marcus caught him at the elevator. Where are you going? We launch in 2 hours. Emma's sick. I have to pick her up. Logan, man, you can't. Not today. I don't have a choice. Call the babysitter, call someone, but you cannot miss this. Logan punched the elevator button. She's 7 years old with a fever, and she's asking for her dad. I'm going. The doors opened. He stepped inside. Hayes, wait! The doors closed. Emma was in the nurse's office, pale and shivering. She looked up when Logan walked in and immediately started crying. Daddy, I don't feel good. He scooped her up, felt her forehead. Hot. Too hot. I've got you, baby. Let's get you home. The nurse handed him discharge papers. Keep her hydrated. If the fever goes above 103, call the doctor. Logan signed everything one-handed, Emma clinging to him like a koala. The drive home was quiet except for her small, miserable sniffles. He got her settled on the couch with water, medicine, and cartoons. By 1:30, her fever had dropped to 101. By 1:45, she was asleep. Logan sat on the floor beside the couch, watching her breathe, his phone buzzing non-stop in his pocket. Messages from Marcus, from the team, from Arya. Where are you? He typed back. Home. Emma's sick. 3 dots appeared and disappeared. Then, is she okay? She will be. Hayes, we need you here. I know. Another long pause, then, I understand, we'll figure it out. Logan stared at the message. Arya, who'd built her entire life on never accepting excuses, never showing weakness, was giving him an out. telling him it was okay to choose his daughter over everything else. He looked at Emma, peaceful now despite the fever. Then at the clock, 1:50. 10 minutes until the presentation that would determine everything. He made a choice. Logan called Mrs. Nguyen. "I need you here in 5 minutes. Emergency rate, I'll pay triple." "On my way." She arrived in 4. Logan gave her quick instructions, kissed Emma's forehead, and ran to his car. He made it to Blackwood Technologies at 2:07. The auditorium was packed. Arya stood on stage midway through the introduction, perfectly composed, despite the fact that her lead engineer had just walked in 7 minutes late. Their eyes met across the room. She didn't smile, didn't acknowledge him, just kept talking. Logan slipped into the wings, pulled up the presentation on his tablet, and waited for his cue. When Arya called his name, he walked onto that stage like he'd been there the whole time. The presentation was flawless. Logan walked through the technical specs, demonstrated the platform's capabilities, answered questions with a confidence he didn't entirely feel. Beside him, Arya handled the business side, projections, market analysis, growth potential. They moved like a choreographed dance, anticipating each other's points, building on each other's arguments. By the end, the room was buzzing. 3 investors committed on the spot. 4 clients signed letters of intent. The press asked for exclusive interviews. It worked. They'd actually pulled it off. The auditorium cleared slowly, people clustering around Arya and Logan, shaking hands, making promises. Logan's phone buzzed. "Mrs. Nguyen, Emma's fever broke. She's asking for you, but she's okay." Relief flooded through him so intensely he had to sit down. Marcus appeared, grinning like an idiot. "Dude, we did it. We actually did it." "Yeah, we did. And you showed up 7 minutes late like an absolute madman." Logan laughed, exhaustion finally catching up. "Had to make an entrance." The celebration lasted into the evening. Someone ordered champagne. Toasts were made. People who'd whispered about Logan weeks ago now clapped him on the back, called him brilliant. He accepted it all with a tired smile, counting down the minutes until he could leave. Around 7, Arya found him on the balcony overlooking the city. "You came back." Logan turned. She looked different in the dim light, softer somehow, more human. "I did." "Emma okay?" "Fever broke. She's fine." Arya nodded, stepped up beside him. They stood in silence, watching lights blink on across the skyline. "You could have stayed home," she said finally. "I would have understood." "I know, but I didn't want to." "Why not?" Logan considered the question. "Because this mattered. What we built, what we proved, it mattered, and I wanted to be part of that." "Even though your daughter needed you?" "She needed me for an hour. You needed me for 10 minutes. Mrs. Nguyen could cover the hour." Arya was quiet for a long moment. "You're a good father, Hayes." "I'm trying to be." "No, you are. Emma's lucky to have you." She paused. "I'm lucky to have you too." The words hung between them, weighted with meaning neither of them was quite ready to unpack. Then Arya's phone rang. She glanced at it, tensed. "It's the board chair. You should take it." She answered, listened, and her expression shifted. "Yes, sir. Thank you. I will." She hung up, turned to Logan with something like wonder in her eyes. "They're canceling the restructure. No layoffs." That's incredible. They said his presentation exceeded all expectations, were approved for next year's budget, full funding. Logan felt something loosen in his chest. "So we're safe." "We're safe." They should have been celebrating, should have been running back inside to tell the team. Instead, they just stood there, the weight of the last 6 weeks finally lifting. "Arya, Hayes." They both stopped. Arya laughed, a real laugh, unguarded and genuine. "You first, Kikach," she said. Logan took a breath. "I don't know what this is between us, but it's something. I know, and I need you to know that Emma comes first, always, no matter what. I wouldn't respect you if she didn't. But I also—" He stopped, struggled to find the right words. "I haven't let myself want anything beyond just surviving in a long time. Haven't let myself hope for more than making it through each day. And then you showed up and made everything complicated and terrifying, and I can't stop thinking about you, and I don't know what to do with that." Arya stepped closer, close enough that he could see the flecks of gold in her green eyes. "What if you didn't do anything with it? What if you just let it exist?" "I'm not good at letting things just exist." "Neither am I." Her smile was small, almost shy. "But maybe we could learn together." Logan's heart hammered against his ribs. This was insane. She was his boss. They'd just survived a corporate nightmare. Everything about this was complicated and messy and completely impossible, and he didn't care. "I should get home," he said. "Emma, I know." He started to leave, then turned back. "Arya? Yeah? Thank you for today, for everything." She nodded, eyes bright. "Thank you for coming back." Logan drove home through evening traffic, mind spinning. When he walked through the door, Emma was on the couch, fever gone, watching cartoons and eating crackers. "Daddy!" He sat beside her, pulled her into his lap. "How you feeling, kiddo?" "Better. Mrs. Nguyen made me soup. That was nice of her." Emma was quiet for a moment, then, "Did you help the dragon lady?" "Yeah, I did." "Is she happy now?" Logan thought about Arya on that balcony, vulnerable and honest and more real than he'd ever seen her. "I think so, yeah." "Good." Emma snuggled closer. "I like when you make people happy." Logan kissed the top of her head, closed his eyes, and for the first time in years let himself believe that maybe, just maybe, everything was going to be okay. The week after the launch felt surreal. Logan kept waiting for the other shoe to drop, for someone to discover a critical flaw, or for investors to change their minds. But nothing collapsed. The platform worked. Clients were thrilled. And for the first time in months, he left work at 5:30 without guilt gnawing at his insides. Emma noticed immediately. "You're home on time," she said, looking up from her homework with genuine surprise. "I am. Every day this week." "Observant," she grinned. "Does that mean things are good at work?" "Things are good everywhere, kiddo." It was mostly true. The pressure had eased, the whispers had stopped, and people treated him like a valued colleague instead of a scandal waiting to happen. But there was still one thing left unresolved, and it sat in his chest like a stone every time he thought about it. Arya. They'd barely spoken since the balcony conversation. A few emails about project documentation. One brief hallway encounter where they'd both pretended everything was normal. But normal was a lie, and they both knew it. On Friday, his phone buzzed during dinner. "Can we talk?" "Tomorrow morning. Not the office." Emma peered at his screen. "Is that her?" "Emma, you're doing the thing again, the soft face thing." "I don't have a soft face thing." "Yes, you do. When you read her messages, your face gets all." Emma scrunched up her features in an exaggerated expression of tenderness. Logan laughed despite himself. "I do not look like that." "You totally do." He typed back, "Where?" "The park near your apartment, 9 a.m. I'll be there." Emma watched him with those two knowing eyes. "You like her." "It's complicated. Grown-ups always say that when something's actually simple." "Oh, really? And what's the simple version?" "You like her. She likes you. The end." Logan set his phone down, studied his daughter. What if it's not that easy? What if there are reasons it wouldn't work? Like what? Like she's my boss. Like she lives in a completely different world. Like I have you to think about. Emma reached across the table, patted his hand with the gravity of someone 3 times her age. "Daddy, I just want you to be happy, and you're happier when you talk about her, even when you're trying to hide it." Logan's throat tightened. "When did you get so grown up?" "I keep telling you, I was born this way." That night, after Emma went to bed, Logan stood in front of his closet trying to figure out what to wear to a not-a-date conversation in the park with his boss, who maybe wasn't just his boss anymore. He settled on jeans and a button-down, then changed into a t-shirt, then back to the button-down. This was ridiculous. He gave up and went with the t-shirt. Saturday morning arrived cold and clear. Logan got Emma situated with Mrs. Nguyen, promised he'd be back in a couple hours, and walked the 3 blocks to the park. Arya was already there, sitting on a bench in jeans and a sweater, looking so unlike her usual corporate armor that Logan almost didn't recognize her. "Hey." She looked up, smiled. "Hey yourself." He sat down, leaving space between them that felt both necessary and painful. They watched joggers pass, dogs chase squirrels, a kid learned to ride a bike with training wheels. Normal Saturday things. The world kept turning, oblivious to the conversation they were about to have. "So," Arya said finally. "So, this is awkward." "Extremely." She laughed, some of the tension breaking. "I rehearsed what I was going to say, practiced in the mirror and everything. Now I can't remember any of it. Start with whatever comes to mind. We'll figure it out from there." Arya took a breath. "I've been thinking about what you said, on the balcony, about not knowing what this is between us." And I don't know either. I've never—" She stopped, gathered herself. "I've never let myself want anything that wasn't directly tied to work. Romance, relationships, any of it. It all felt like weakness, like something that would get used against me." "Has it been used against you?" "Once." Her voice went quiet. "I was 26, just starting to find my footing as CEO. I met someone at a conference. He was smart, charming, seemed to actually see me as a person instead of just a name in a bank account." Logan waited. Turned out he was working for a competitor, trying to get inside information on a merger we were planning. He had recordings of our conversations, photos, emails. When I found out, he tried to blackmail me, said he'd release everything unless I killed the merger. "What did you do?" "I released them myself, controlled the narrative, spun it as corporate espionage, turned him into the villain. The merger went through, he went to jail, and I learned my lesson, which was that letting people in is dangerous, that trust is a luxury I can't afford." Logan leaned back, processed this. "So why are we having this conversation?" Arya turned to face him fully. "Because you're different. You've never asked me for anything, never tried to use me. You've just shown up, done the work, protected your daughter, been honest even when it would have been easier to lie." She paused. "And that terrifies me more than the alternative ever did." "Why?" "Because if you're real, if this thing between us is real, then I have something to lose again, and I don't know if I can survive losing it." Logan understood that fear intimately. He'd felt it every day since Emma's mother walked out. The constant terror that the one good thing in his life would disappear if he wasn't careful enough, strong enough, perfect enough. "I can't promise I won't hurt you," he said quietly. "I can't even promise I know what I'm doing, but I can promise I won't lie to you, and I won't use you. And Emma will always come first, but that doesn't mean there isn't room for more." Arya's eyes were bright. "What if I mess this up? What if I'm too damaged, or too difficult, or too human?" Logan finished. "Arya, you're not a dragon. You're just a person who's been hurt and learned to build walls. I get that. I've got walls too, but maybe—" He reached over, took her hand carefully. "Maybe we could try taking them down, a little at a time." Her fingers tightened around his. "I don't know how to do this. Neither do I. So what do we do?" "We figure it out as we go." They sat like that for a long moment, hands clasped, the autumn sun warming their faces. Then Arya spoke again. "There's something else you should know." Logan's stomach clenched. "Okay." "The board. They've been pushing me to make changes. Executive realignment, they call it. Basically, they want me to promote internally, fill some gaps in leadership. That sounds good. They want me to make you VP of engineering." Logan's brain stuttered to a halt. "What?" "You heard me. VP, full benefits, salary increase, office on the executive floor. They were impressed with the launch. Want to lock you in before someone else poaches you." "Arya, I don't know what to say." "Say yes." "It's that easy?" "Nothing about this is easy, Hayes, but you've earned it, and I need someone in that role I can trust." Logan pulled his hand back, stood up, paced. "If I take it, people will talk. They'll say it's because we're whatever we are. They'll talk anyway. They always do. And you're okay with that? Arya stood, walked over to him. I'm tired of making decisions based on what other people think. I'm tired of being scared. So yes, I'm okay with it. The question is whether you are. Logan looked at her, really looked. Not at the CEO or the billionaire or the impossible woman in the glass tower, just at Arya. Scared and brave and trying so damn hard to be something other than alone. I need to talk to Emma first. Arya blinked. Really? She's part of this. If I take the job, he gestured between them. If we try this, she needs to be okay with it. Something softened in Arya's expression. You're a good man, Logan Hayes. I'm just a dad trying not to screw up. That's what makes you good. They walked back to his apartment building together, not holding hands but close enough that their shoulders bumped occasionally. At the door, Arya paused. I should go, give you time to talk to her. Or you could come up, meet her properly. Arya's eyes widened. Now? Why not? She already calls you the Dragon Lady. Might as well prove her wrong. What if she doesn't like me? Logan smiled. She let you borrow Mr. Hoppy. That's basically a sacred trust. Arya took a breath, nodded. Okay, let's do this. Emma was on the living room floor, coloring, when they walked in. She looked up, saw Arya, and her eyes went huge. You came back! Arya knelt down to Emma's level. I did. Is that okay? Yeah. Do you want to color with me? I'd love to. Logan watched them settle on the floor, Emma explaining her drawing with the intensity of a museum curator, Arya listening like it was the most important presentation of her life. Mrs. Wynne caught his eye from the kitchen, raised her eyebrows in question. Logan just shrugged, smiled. After 20 minutes of coloring, Emma announced she was hungry. Logan made sandwiches while Arya sat at the small kitchen table, looking completely out of place and somehow perfectly at home. Your apartment is nice, Arya said. It's small. Small isn't bad. It's cozy. Emma climbed into the chair next to Arya, sandwich in hand. Do you live in a big house? I do. It's too big, actually. Is it lonely? Arya paused, caught off guard by the directness. Sometimes. Yes. Emma considered this. You could come here more. It's small, but we have extra space. Right, Daddy? Logan nearly dropped the plate he was holding. Emma. What? We do. And you said people shouldn't be lonely. Arya's smile was genuine, reaching her eyes. That's very kind of you, Emma. They ate lunch together, the conversation flowing easier than Logan expected. Emma asked Arya questions about her job, her house, whether she liked dragons. Arya answered honestly, even laughing at some of Emma's observations. After Emma went back to coloring, Logan and Arya cleaned up the kitchen. She's amazing, Arya said quietly. She is. And she's okay with... Arya gestured vaguely. Let's find out. Logan joined Emma on the floor. Hey, kiddo, can we talk about something? Emma set down her crayon. Is it about Arya? Yeah, how would you feel if she was around more? Not just for work stuff, for other stuff. Emma looked between them, thinking hard. Would you be happier? I think so, yeah. Would she be nicer? Logan glanced at Arya, who looked terrified. I think she's already nice, just takes some getting used to. Emma turned to Arya. Do you like my daddy? Arya didn't hesitate. Very much. Do you like me? Absolutely. Okay then. Emma went back to coloring like the matter was settled. Logan blinked. That's it? You said you'd be happier. That's all that matters. She paused, added another stroke of purple to her drawing. Plus she needs friends. Big houses are lonely. Arya's eyes glistened. She looked at Logan, speechless. Well, Logan said. I guess that's settled. The next few weeks unfolded with a strange kind of normalcy. Logan accepted the VP position. The announcement was met with some grumbling, but the success of the platform spoke louder than any gossip. He moved to the executive floor, got an office with windows, finally had the resources to build the team he'd always wanted. And Arya became part of their lives. It started small. Coffee before meetings, lunch in the cafeteria instead of her office. She started leaving at reasonable hours, joining Logan and Emma for dinner once a week. Emma taught her how to play board games. Arya taught Emma about constellations and complex mathematics. Logan just watched, amazed that this was his life now. But it wasn't perfect. Nothing ever was. 3 weeks into their whatever this was, investors demanded a review of executive relationships. HR sent memos about disclosure requirements. The board requested meetings to discuss optics. Arya handled it with her usual steel, but Logan saw the strain. "They're never going to stop, are they?" he said one night after a particularly brutal board session. "Probably not." "Does it bother you?" Arya was quiet for a moment. "It used to. Now, I look at what we've built. The platform, the team, this," she gestured between them. "And I realize their opinion matters less than I thought. That's growth. Or stupidity, hard to tell sometimes." Logan pulled her closer on the couch. Emma was asleep in her room, the apartment quiet except for the distant hum of traffic. "For what it's worth, I think you're doing great." "Yeah?" "Yeah. You're letting people in. That's terrifying and brave and very not dragon-like." Arya laughed softly. "Emma would be disappointed. Emma thinks you're secretly a good dragon now, the kind that protects people instead of hoarding gold. I like that version better." "Me too." The real test came 2 months later. Emma's mother showed up. Logan opened the door one Saturday morning to find Vanessa standing there looking exactly the same as the day she'd walked out. Blonde hair, sharp features, expensive clothes. The woman who'd decided motherhood wasn't for her and left without looking back. "Logan." His blood went cold. "What are you doing here?" "I want to see Emma." "No. I have rights. You gave those up when you abandoned her." Vanessa's expression hardened. "I made a mistake. I want to fix it." Behind him, Emma's voice, "Daddy, who is it?" Logan turned, saw his daughter standing in the hallway, curious. Then recognition dawned on her face. She'd seen photos, heard stories. She knew who this was. "Mom." Vanessa pushed past Logan. "Emma, baby, I've missed you so much." Emma didn't run to her, didn't smile, just stood there, small and confused, looking to Logan for guidance. "I think you should leave," Logan said, voice steady despite the rage coursing through him. "I'm her mother." "You were her mother. You don't get to waltz back in after 3 years and pretend nothing happened." "I'm not pretending. I'm trying to make amends." Emma spoke up, voice small. "Why did you leave?" Vanessa knelt down. "I was young and scared. I didn't know how to be a mom. But I've grown up now. I want another chance." "No." Emma's voice was firm. "You don't get another chance." Vanessa blinked. "What?" "Daddy says when people hurt you, you don't have to let them back in. And you hurt me. You hurt him. So no." Tears streamed down Vanessa's face. "Emma, please." "I think you should leave," Emma said, echoing Logan's words. Vanessa stood, looked at Logan with something like desperation. "This isn't over." "Yeah," Logan said, "it is." He closed the door in her face. Emma stood frozen for a moment, then burst into tears. Logan scooped her up, held her while she sobbed, whispering reassurances that everything was okay, that she was safe, that he wasn't going anywhere. When she finally calmed down, she looked up at him with red eyes. "Did I do the right thing?" "You did exactly the right thing. I don't want her to come back." "She won't, I promise." But Logan wasn't sure he could keep that promise. He called Arya that night after Emma fell asleep. "She's going to fight for custody," he said without preamble. "On what grounds?" "I don't know. But she looked desperate. Desperate people do stupid things." Arya was quiet for a moment. "I know a good lawyer. The best, actually. I'll make some calls." "Arya, you don't have to." "Yes, I do. Emma's part of your life. Your life is part of mine now, so we handle this together." Logan's throat tightened. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet. Let's win first." The custody battle was uglier than Logan expected. Vanessa hired an aggressive attorney who painted Logan as an unstable single father working excessive hours. They brought up the investigation, the rumors about Arya, twisted everything into a narrative of neglect and poor judgment. Logan's lawyer, a sharp woman named Patricia Chen, who Arya had indeed recommended, fought back hard. She presented Emma's school records, teacher testimonials, medical records showing consistent care. She called Mrs. Nguyen to testify about Logan's dedication. She even called Marcus to discuss Logan's work-life balance. And then she called Arya. The courtroom went silent when Arya Blackwood took the stand. Vanessa's lawyer looked like he'd won the lottery. "Miss Blackwood, what is your relationship with Mr. Hayes? He's my VP of engineering and my partner." Whispers erupted. The judge banged his gavel. "And how long has this relationship been going on? Professionally, 6 months. Personally, 2 months. Isn't it true that Mr. Hayes received preferential treatment due to your relationship?" "No, Mr. Hayes received a promotion because he's exceptional at his job. Our personal relationship came after, not before." "But you can't deny the appearance of impropriety." Arya's smile was ice. "I can deny that his personal life has any bearing on his ability to parent. I've spent time with Emma Hayes. She's intelligent, well-adjusted, and deeply loved. Logan is an exemplary father who puts his daughter first in every decision. Can Ms. Ramirez say the same?" Vanessa's lawyer tried to recover. "Ms. Blackwood, isn't it true that you have no children of your own?" "That's correct." "So how can you judge what makes a good parent?" "I had a father who chose work over everything, who built an empire but couldn't be bothered to show up for a single school play, who died alone because he never learned that success means nothing without people to share it with." Arya's voice didn't waver. "Logan Hayes is nothing like that. He shows up every time. And Emma knows she's the most important thing in his world. That's what good parenting looks like." The courtroom was silent. 2 weeks later, the judge ruled in Logan's favor. Full custody maintained. Vanessa was granted supervised visitation once a month pending Emma's consent. Emma chose not to consent. Logan didn't argue. That night, they celebrated at home with pizza and ice cream. Emma was her normal self, laughing, talking, showing Arya her latest drawings. But Logan saw the relief in her eyes, the weight that had lifted. After Emma went to bed, Logan and Arya sat on the couch, exhausted and victorious. "You didn't have to do that," Logan said. "Testify. Put yourself out there." "Yes, I did." "Why?" Arya turned to face him. "Because somewhere along the way, you and Emma stopped being a risk I was taking and became the life I was choosing. And I don't run from the things I choose anymore." Logan kissed her, soft and certain and full of everything he didn't have words for. When they pulled apart, Arya smiled. "So what now?" "Now we just live, build something real, figure it out as we go." "That's terrifyingly vague." "Welcome to parenthood." "I'm not—" Arya stopped. "Am I?" Logan thought about Emma asking Arya for help with homework, about Arya showing up to Emma's school play last week, about the way his daughter had started drawing 3 stick figures instead of 2. "I think you might be," he said gently, "if you want to be." Arya's eyes filled. "I want to be. I'm just scared I'll mess it up. Join the club. I'm scared every single day. But you do it anyway." "Yeah, because she's worth it. You're both worth it." Arya leaned her head on his shoulder. "I never thought I'd have this. A family. People who actually wanted me around for more than what I could give them." "Well, you've got it now. Messy, complicated, imperfect, but real." "Real sounds good." 3 months later, on a Saturday morning in early spring, Logan woke to find Emma and Arya in the kitchen making pancakes. Badly. Flour covered every surface. Batter dripped on the floor. Arya had chocolate chips in her hair. "What's happening here?" Emma grinned. "We're making breakfast. Arya's helping." "I use that term loosely," Arya said, looking adorably frazzled. Logan leaned against the doorway, watching his daughter teach his girlfriend how to flip pancakes, and felt something slot into place. This was it, the life he'd been building toward without realizing it. messy and loud, and so much more than he'd ever dared to hope for. Later that afternoon, they went to the park. Emma ran ahead, chasing birds and climbing trees. Logan and Arya walked slower, hands linked. "I've been thinking," Arya said. "Dangerous." She elbowed him. "About the future. About us." "Okay." "What if I sold the company?" Logan stopped walking. "What?" "Not immediately, but in a few years. Transition leadership, set up a foundation, step back from the day-to-day chaos." "Why?" Arya looked at Emma, spinning in circles with her arms out. "Because I don't want to be my father. And because I want time for this. For you and Emma and whatever comes next. The company was supposed to prove I was strong enough to survive. But I don't need to prove that anymore." Logan pulled her closer. "You sure about this?" "No, but I'm sure about you, and that's enough." Emma ran back to them, breathless and glowing. "Can we get ice cream?" "Absolutely," Arya said before Logan could answer. Emma grabbed both their hands, swung between them. "This is the best day ever." Logan looked at Arya over Emma's head. She smiled back, genuine and unguarded and completely transformed from the woman who'd walked into his life 7 months ago. Maybe that was the thing about walls. You spent so long building them that you forgot what they were protecting you from. And sometimes the scariest thing you could do was take them down and let people see who you really were underneath. But it was also the only way to build something real. As they walked toward the ice cream truck, Emma chattering between them, Logan realized he'd stopped waiting for everything to fall apart. Stopped bracing for the next disaster. He was just here, present, living instead of surviving. And that, more than any promotion or successful launch or custody victory, felt like the real success. Emma got chocolate. Arya got vanilla. Logan got strawberry. They sat on a park bench, sticky-fingered and happy, and watched the world move around them. "Daddy?" Emma said through a mouthful of ice cream. "Yeah, kiddo. I love our family." Logan's heart swelled. He looked at Arya, saw the same emotion reflected in her eyes. "Me too, Emma. Me too." And in that moment, with the spring sun warm on their faces and the taste of ice cream sweet on their tongues, Logan Hayes finally understood what it meant to have everything that mattered. Not the corner office or the impressive title or the financial security, though those were nice, but the people sitting beside him, the daughter who chose him every single day, the woman who'd learned to be brave enough to want more than just success. That was everything, and it was more than enough. The week after the launch felt like stepping into someone else's life. Logan kept waiting for reality to reassert itself, for the chaos to return, for someone to pull the rug out from under him. But the platform held. Clients sent thank you emails. The board stopped scheduling emergency meetings. And for the first time in 6 months, Logan walked out of the office at 5:30 without his phone buzzing with urgent messages. Emma noticed immediately. "You're home," she said, looking up from her homework with genuine surprise in her eyes. "I am. On time, 3 days in a row." "You're keeping track?" "I always keep track." She set down her pencil, studied him with that unnerving intensity she'd inherited from him. "Does this mean things are better?" "Things are better. With work or with everything?" Logan sat down across from her, watched her chew on the end of her pencil. "Everything, kiddo. I think we're going to be okay." Emma smiled, went back to her math problems. But Logan saw the way her shoulders relaxed, the tension she'd been carrying for weeks finally easing. Kids noticed more than adults gave them credit for. They felt the stress in the house, heard the worry and late-night phone calls, saw the exhaustion their parents tried to hide. Emma had been watching him struggle for months, and now she was watching him breathe easier. It should have felt like victory. And it did, mostly. But there was still one conversation he hadn't had. One thing left unresolved that sat in his chest like a weight every time he thought about it. Arya. They'd barely spoken since the balcony. A few professional emails about documentation handoffs, one awkward hallway encounter where they'd both pretended to be in a hurry. The space between them felt charged with everything they'd said, and everything they hadn't. And Logan didn't know how to bridge it. On Friday evening, his phone buzzed while he was making dinner. Arya's name flashed on the screen. "Can we talk?" "Tomorrow." not at the office. Emma peered over his shoulder before he could angle the phone away. Is that her? Emma, you're doing the thing again. What thing? The soft face thing. Your whole face changes when you read her messages. Logan felt heat creep up his neck. I don't have a soft face thing. Yes, you do. It's like... Emma scrunched up her features in an exaggerated expression of tenderness that made her look ridiculous. All mushy. I do not look like that. You totally do. He typed back, very aware of Emma watching. Where were you thinking? The park near your place? 9 tomorrow morning? I'll be there. Emma grinned. You're going to see her. We're just talking. About grown-up stuff? About complicated stuff. Emma hopped up on the counter, swinging her legs. Daddy, can I tell you something? Always. I think complicated is just what grown-ups say when something is actually really simple, but they're too scared to admit it. Logan paused mid-stir, looked at his 7-year-old daughter. Oh, really? And what's the simple version? You like her. She likes you. That's it. Emma, it's not that easy. She's my boss. We work together. There are rules about these things. But you don't work for her anymore. You're a VP now. Marcus told me that means you're almost as important as she is. Marcus needs to stop talking to you about corporate hierarchy. He brought me a donut. I asked questions. He answered. Emma shrugged. So what's the real problem? Logan turned off the stove, faced his daughter. What if it doesn't work out? What if we try this and it goes badly and then everything's weird at work? And what if it does work out? Emma interrupted. What if you spend all this time worrying about bad stuff that never happens and you miss out on good stuff? When did you get so wise? I keep telling you, Daddy, I was born this way. That night, after Emma fell asleep, Logan stood in his closet trying to figure out what you wore to a maybe date, definitely important conversation with your boss, who wasn't really just your boss anymore. He pulled out a button-down, then swapped it for a t-shirt, then went back to the button-down. This was absurd. He was 32 years old, not a teenager getting ready for prom. He settled on jeans and a casual shirt and tried not to think about it too much. Saturday morning arrived cold and bright. Logan got Emma settled with Mrs. Nguyen, promised he'd be back in a couple hours, and walked the 3 blocks to the park. His hands were shoved deep in his pockets, his breath forming small clouds in the autumn air. Arya was already there. She sat on a bench facing the pond. Wearing jeans and a cream sweater, her hair down instead of pulled back in its usual severe bun. She looked softer like this, more real, less like the untouchable CEO, and more like just a person waiting on a park bench. Hey, Logan said. She turned, smiled. Hey yourself. He sat down, leaving what felt like a necessary but painful amount of space between them. They watched ducks paddle across the pond. A jogger passed by with a golden retriever. A little kid chased pigeons with unselfconscious joy. The world moved around them, normal Saturday morning things, completely unaware of the conversation about to happen. So, Arya said after a long moment. So, this is awkward. Extremely. She laughed, and some of the tension cracked. I rehearsed what I was going to say, stood in front of my bathroom mirror this morning, like an idiot, practicing. How'd it go? Terribly. I sounded like a robot reading a script. She turned to face him. So I'm just going to say it without the script and hope it comes out right. I'm listening. Arya took a breath. I've been thinking about what you said on the balcony, about not knowing what this is between us, but knowing it's something. Logan nodded, didn't interrupt. I've spent my entire adult life avoiding exactly this. Relationships, feelings, anything that wasn't directly related to work. It all felt dangerous, like weakness, like something that would get weaponized and used against me. Has it been? Used against you? Once? Her voice went quieter. I was 26, just starting to figure out how to run the company without my father's shadow crushing me. I met someone at a conference, tech investor, smart, charming, seemed to see past the CEO title to the actual person underneath. Logan waited, sensing there was more. We dated for 4 months. I let my guard down, told him things about the company, about deals we were working on, strategic plans. Then I found out he was working for a competitor. He'd recorded our conversations, saved my emails, taken photos. When I confronted him, he tried to blackmail me, said he'd release everything unless I killed a merger we were planning. What did you do? I beat him to it, released everything myself, controlled the narrative, turned him into the villain, positioned it as corporate espionage, which it was. The merger went through. He went to jail, and I learned my lesson. Which was? That letting people in is dangerous, that vulnerability is a liability I can't afford, that the only person I can really trust is myself. She paused. I've lived by that rule for 4 years, and it's kept me safe, but it's also kept me alone. Logan understood that kind of fear. He'd felt it every single day since Emma's mother walked out. The constant terror that if he let his guard down, if he trusted someone, if he let himself want more than just survival, it would all come crashing down again. So why are we having this conversation? He asked. Arya turned to face him fully. Because you're different, Hayes. You've never asked me for anything except honesty and respect. You've never tried to use me or manipulate me or get something from me. You just showed up, did the work, protected your daughter, and treated me like a person instead of a title. She paused. And that scares me more than the alternative ever did. Why? Because if you're real, if this thing between us is actually real and not just proximity and stress and two people who work too many late nights together, then I have something to lose again. And I don't know if I'm strong enough to survive losing it. Logan reached over, took her hand carefully. Her fingers were cold. He rubbed his thumb across her knuckles. I can't promise I won't hurt you, he said quietly. I can't promise I know what I'm doing or that I have all the answers. But I can promise I won't lie to you. I won't use you. And I won't pretend this is simple when it's not. What about Emma? Emma will always come first. That's non-negotiable. But that doesn't mean there isn't room for more. He squeezed her hand. I've been so focused on just surviving, on getting through each day without falling apart, that I forgot what it feels like to actually want something. And I want this. I want you. Messy and complicated and terrifying as it is. Arya's eyes were bright. What if I mess it up? What if I'm too broken or too damaged or too human? Logan finished. Arya, you're not some ice queen. You're not a dragon. You're just a person who got hurt and built walls to keep it from happening again. I understand that. I've got my own walls. So what do? We take them down, brick by brick, as slow as we need to. They sat like that for a long moment, hands clasped, the morning sun warming their faces despite the cold. Then Arya spoke again, her voice careful. There's something else you should know. Logan's stomach clenched. Okay. The board met yesterday, emergency session about executive structure and leadership alignment. That doesn't sound good. They want me to make some changes. Promotions, restructuring, filling gaps in the C-suite. Are they pushing you out? No, they're pushing me to promote you. VP of Engineering, full executive benefits, significant salary increase, office on 30. Logan's brain short-circuited. What? You heard me? They were impressed with the launch. Want to lock you in before someone else poaches you. Arya, I don't know what to say. Say yes. It's that easy? Nothing about this is easy, Hayes, but you earned it. You saved the project, proved yourself 10 times over, and everyone knows it. This isn't charity, it's recognition. Logan pulled his hand back, stood up, paced along the edge of the pond. If I take it, people will talk. They'll say it's because we're whatever we are, that you promoted me because of personal reasons. They'll talk anyway. They've been talking for months. And you're okay with that? Arya stood, walked over to him. I'm tired of making decisions based on what other people think. I'm tired of letting fear run my life. So yes, I'm okay with it. The question is whether you are. Logan looked at her. Really looked at her. Not the CEO, not the billionaire, not the woman in the glass tower who seemed untouchable. Just Arya. Scared and brave and trying so hard to be something other than alone. I need to talk to Emma first. Arya blinked. Really? She's part of this. If I take the promotion, he gestured between them. If we try this, she needs to be on board. Her opinion matters. Something shifted in Arya's expression, softening it. You're a good man. Logan Hayes. I'm just a dad trying not to screw up. That's exactly what makes you good. They walked back toward his apartment building, not holding hands, but close enough that their shoulders bumped occasionally. The conversation had shifted something between them, made the air feel lighter, the future less terrifying. At his building's entrance, Arya hesitated. I should go, give you time to talk to her. Or you could come up, meet her properly. Have the actual conversation instead of me trying to explain it secondhand. Arya's eyes went wide. Now? You want me to meet Emma now? Why not? She already calls you the Dragon Lady. Might as well prove her right or wrong. What if she doesn't like me? Logan smiled. She offered to lend you Mr. Hoppy when you were scared. That's basically sacred trust in 7-year-old language. You'll be fine. Arya took a breath, nodded. Okay, let's do this before I lose my nerve. Emma was on the living room floor when they walked in, surrounded by markers and construction paper, creating what looked like an elaborate city made entirely of folded paper buildings. She looked up when the door opened, saw Arya, and her entire face lit up. You came back! Arya knelt down to Emma's level, and Logan saw her hands shake slightly. I did. Is that okay? Yeah, do you want to help me build the city? I'm making a skyscraper, but I can't get the top part to stay. I'd love to help. Logan watched them settle on the floor together, Emma explaining her architectural vision with the seriousness of a professional contractor. Arya listening like this was the most important presentation of her life. Mrs. Nguyen caught his eye from the kitchen, raised her eyebrows in a silent question. Logan just shrugged, smiled helplessly. 20 minutes later, Emma announced she was hungry. Logan made sandwiches while Arya sat at their small kitchen table, looking simultaneously out of place and perfectly comfortable. Your apartment is nice, Arya said, watching him slice bread. It's tiny. Tiny can be good, cozy. Emma climbed into the chair next to Arya, sandwich in hand. Do you live in a big house? I do. It's probably too big, actually. Is it lonely? The question was so direct, so innocently brutal that Arya actually flinched. Sometimes, yes. Emma took a bite of her sandwich, chewed thoughtfully. You could come here more. It's small, but we have extra room. Right, Daddy? Logan nearly dropped the plate he was holding. Emma, what? We do. And you always say people shouldn't have to be lonely if they don't want to be. Arya's smile reached her eyes this time. That's very kind of you, Emma. They ate lunch together, the conversation flowing easier than Logan had any right to expect. Emma asked questions about everything. What Arya's job was actually like, whether her house had a pool if she'd ever met any famous people, whether she liked dogs or cats better. Arya answered honestly, even laughing at some of Emma's observations about office life and dragon behavior. After lunch, Emma went back to her paper city. Logan and Arya cleaned up the kitchen, moving around each other in the small space. She's incredible, Arya said quietly, rinsing a plate. She is. And she seems okay with... Arya gestured vaguely between them. Let's find out. Logan joined Emma on the floor, sat cross-legged next to her paper skyscraper. Hey, kiddo, can we talk about something serious for a minute? Emma set down her markers, turned to face him with her full attention. Is this about Arya? Yeah, how would you feel if she was around more? Not just for lunch sometimes, for other stuff. Dinner, weekends, just being part of our lives. Emma looked between them, her expression serious. Would it make you happier? I think so, yeah. Would she be happy? I hope so. Emma turned to Arya. Would you? Arya didn't hesitate. Very much. Okay then. Emma picked up her markers like the matter was settled. Logan blinked. That's it? You're okay with it? You said you'd be happier. That's the most important thing. She added another window to her building. Plus, Arya needs friends. Big houses are too lonely. Arya's eyes filled with tears. She looked at Logan, completely lost for words. Well, Logan said, his own throat tight. I guess that's settled. The next few weeks unfolded with a rhythm that felt almost normal. Logan accepted the VP position. The announcement generated some buzz, a few raised eyebrows, but the platform's success spoke louder than gossip. He moved to the executive floor, got an actual office with windows and a door that closed, finally had the resources and authority to build the kind of team he'd always envisioned. And Arya became part of their daily lives in small, incremental ways. It started with coffee before meetings, then lunch in the cafeteria instead of her office. She began leaving work at reasonable hours, showing up at Logan's apartment for dinner once a week, then twice, then most nights. Emma taught her how to play board games and never let her win just because she was a grown-up. Arya taught Emma about constellations and helped with her math homework using methods that were probably too advanced, but that Emma loved anyway. Logan just watched it all happen, amazed that this was somehow his life now. But nothing was perfect. It never was. 3 weeks into whatever they were calling this relationship, investors started asking questions about executive dynamics and conflicts of interest. HR sent formal memos about disclosure requirements and proper protocols. The board requested multiple meetings to discuss optics and appropriate boundaries. Arya handled it with her typical steel spine, but Logan saw the toll it took. The tension in her shoulders during board meetings, the way she gripped her phone too tight when certain investors called. "They're never going to stop, are they?" he asked one night after a particularly brutal board session that had lasted until 8 p.m. "Probably not. Comes with the territory." "Does it bother you?" Arya was quiet for a moment, staring at her wine glass. "It used to. A lot. Now I look at what we've built. The platform, the team, this thing between us, my relationship with Emma, and I realize their opinion matters less than I thought it did. That's growth. Or stupidity. Sometimes hard to tell the difference." Logan pulled her closer on the couch. Emma was already asleep in her room, the apartment quiet except for distant traffic sounds. "For what it's worth, I think you're doing great." "Yeah? Yeah. You're letting people in. You're choosing relationships over control. That's terrifying and brave and very not dragon-like." Arya laughed softly against his shoulder. "Emma would be so disappointed to hear that. Actually, Emma told me last week that you're secretly a good dragon now, the kind that protects treasure instead of hoarding it." "What's the treasure?" "Us, apparently. You, me, and her. She drew a picture." "She draws a lot of pictures." "This one had you breathing fire at stick figures labeled bad guys." Arya pulled back to look at him. "She drew me protecting you? And her, yeah." "That's..." Arya's voice caught. "That's the nicest thing anyone's ever done for me." Logan kissed her forehead. "Get used to it. Emma's big on nice gestures." The real test came 6 weeks later, on a random Tuesday morning that started like any other. Logan had just dropped Emma at school and was heading back to his car when his phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello? Is this Logan Hayes?" "Yes. Who's this?" "My name is Jennifer Park. I'm an attorney representing Vanessa Ramirez." Logan's blood went cold. He hadn't heard that name in 3 years. Hadn't wanted to. "What does she want?" "Miss Ramirez would like to discuss custody arrangements for Emma." "No." "Mr. Hayes, I understand this is unexpected, but my client has rights. Your client abandoned her daughter 3 years ago. She doesn't get to waltz back in and talk about rights. That's not how the law works, Ms. Ramirez is willing to negotiate, but if you refuse to engage, we'll file for a formal custody hearing." Logan's hands shook. "Do what you have to do. My answer is no." He hung up, sat in his car, and tried to remember how to breathe. The call to Arya was automatic, instinctive. "Hayes, what's wrong?" "Emma's mother. She wants custody." "When?" "Her lawyer just called. They're threatening to file." Arya's voice went sharp, focused. "Don't respond to anything without representation. I know someone. Best family attorney in the state. I'm calling her now." "Arya, you don't have to..." "Yes, I do. Emma's part of your life. Your life is part of mine now. We handle this together." Logan's throat was too tight to respond. "Hayes, listen to me. We're going to fight this, and we're going to win, okay?" "Okay. Go to work. Try to focus." I'll handle the lawyer. He did try to focus, failed spectacularly. By noon, Arya had set up a meeting with Patricia Chen, a sharp-eyed attorney with a reputation for destroying opposing counsel in custody cases. The meeting was brutal in its efficiency. Patricia asked direct questions, took detailed notes, didn't sugarcoat anything. She's going to argue abandonment laws don't apply because she maintained minimal contact through birthday cards, Patricia said. She'll paint you as overworked, unstable, possibly having an inappropriate relationship that affects your judgment. That's not, I know, but that's what she'll argue. We need to be ready. Logan's jaw clenched. What do we do? We document everything. Emma's school records, medical records, testimonials from teachers and caregivers. We show consistent, devoted parenting, and we prepare Emma for the possibility she might have to talk to a judge. She's 7 years old. I know, and I'm sorry, but if this goes to court, the judge will want to hear from her. That night, Logan tried to act normal. Made dinner, helped with homework, read bedtime stories, but Emma saw through him immediately. You're worried about something. Just work stuff, kiddo. You're doing the lying mouth thing. Logan set down the book. You remember your mom? Emma's expression shuddered. A little. Why? She wants to see you. I don't want to see her. I know, but she has a lawyer. They might make you. Emma was quiet for a long moment. Then, will you be there? Every second, I promise. Then I'm not scared. Logan pulled her into a hug, held on tight. You're braver than I am. That's not true. You're the bravest person I know. The custody proceedings started 4 weeks later. Vanessa showed up looking put together, rehearsed, ready to play the role of reformed mother. Her lawyer painted a picture of a young woman who'd made a mistake, gotten help, and was now ready to be the parent she should have been. Logan's lawyer painted a different picture. Abandonment. 3 years of silence. Sudden interest only after Logan's career success became public knowledge. It was ugly and painful and everything Logan had feared. They called witnesses. Mrs. Nguyen testified about Logan's dedication, how he'd never missed a pickup, always put Emma first. Emma's teacher talked about father-daughter projects, school events Logan attended despite his work schedule. Marcus testified about Logan's work-life balance, how he protected his time with Emma fiercely. Then they called Arya. The courtroom went silent when Arya Blackwood took the stand. Vanessa's lawyer looked like Christmas had come early. Ms. Blackwood, what is your relationship with Mr. Hayes? He's my VP of engineering and my partner. Whispers erupted. The judge banged his gavel for silence. And how long has this relationship been ongoing? Professionally, 8 months. Personally, about 3 months. Isn't it true that Mr. Hayes received preferential treatment due to your relationship? No. Logan Hayes received a promotion because he's exceptional at his job. He led a platform development that saved our company and brought in $15 million in new contracts. Our personal relationship developed after his promotion, not before it. But you can't deny the appearance of impropriety. Arya's smile could have cut glass. I can deny that his personal life has any bearing whatsoever on his ability to parent. I've spent significant time with Emma Hayes. She's intelligent, well-adjusted, kind, and deeply loved. Logan is an exemplary father who puts his daughter first in every single decision he makes. Can Ms. Ramirez say the same? Vanessa's lawyer tried to recover. Ms. Blackwood, you don't have children of your own, correct? That's correct. So how can you possibly judge what makes a good parent? Arya's expression didn't change. I had a father who chose his business over everything else, who built a billion-dollar empire but couldn't be bothered to show up for a single school play, a single parent-teacher conference, a single moment that mattered, who died alone in a hospital room surrounded by lawyers and accountants, but not a single person who actually loved him. Her voice stayed level, controlled. Logan Hayes is nothing like that. He shows up, every time, for everything. Emma knows without question that she's the most important thing in his world. That's what good parenting looks like. I know because I lived the opposite. The courtroom was completely silent. Vanessa's lawyer sat down. He had no follow-up questions. The judge took 2 weeks to deliberate. 2 weeks of Logan barely sleeping, Emma asking careful questions, Arya staying over most nights just to provide steady presence. When the ruling came, Logan stood in the courtroom with Patricia on one side and Arya on the other, holding his breath. In the matter of custody of Emma Hayes, the judge began, this court finds that the current arrangement serves the child's best interests. Full custody remains with Logan Hayes. Miss Ramirez is granted supervised visitation once per month, contingent on the child's willingness to participate. Logan's knees nearly gave out. Emma, sitting in the gallery with Mrs. Nguyen, smiled. Outside the courthouse, Emma ran to Logan and wrapped her arms around his waist. Is it over? It's over. Do I have to see her? Only if you want to. I don't. Then you don't. Emma pulled back, looked up at Arya. Thank you for helping my dad. Arya knelt down. Thank you for letting me be part of your family. You're not just part of it, you're important. Emma said it matter-of-factly, like stating the weather. That night, they celebrated with pizza and ice cream at home. Emma was her normal self, laughing, talking about school, showing Arya her latest drawings. But Logan saw the relief in her shoulders, the lightness that came from knowing the threat was gone. After Emma went to bed, Logan and Arya collapsed on the couch, exhausted but victorious. You didn't have to testify, Logan said. You didn't have to put yourself out there like that. Yes, I did. Why? Arya turned to face him. Because somewhere along the way, you and Emma stopped being a risk I was managing and became the life I was choosing. And I don't run from the things I choose anymore. Logan kissed her, slow and certain and full of everything he couldn't find words for. When they pulled apart, Arya smiled. So what now? Now we just live. Build something real. Take it one day at a time. That's terrifyingly vague. Welcome to family life. Nothing's certain and everything's improvised. Arya leaned her head on his shoulder. I never thought I'd have this. People who wanted me around for reasons that had nothing to do with what I could give them or do for them. Well, you've got it now. Messy, complicated, imperfect, but real. Real sounds good. 3 months later, on a Saturday morning in early spring, Logan woke to voices in the kitchen and the smell of something burning. He walked out to find Emma and Arya attempting to make pancakes. Flour covered every surface, batter dripped on the floor. Arya had chocolate chips in her hair and a streak of what looked like syrup on her cheek. What's happening here? Emma grinned. We're making breakfast. Arya's helping. I use the term helping very loosely, Arya said, looking adorably frazzled. Logan leaned against the doorway, just watching. His daughter teaching his girlfriend how to flip pancakes, both of them laughing when one landed on the floor. The easy comfort of people who belong together. This was it. The life he'd been building toward without fully realizing it. Messy and loud and so much more than he'd ever let himself hope for. Later that afternoon, the three of them walked to the park. Emma ran ahead, chasing butterflies and climbing trees. Logan and Arya followed more slowly, hands linked. I've been thinking, Arya said. That's usually dangerous. She elbowed him lightly. About the future. About what I want my life to actually look like. Okay. What if I sold the company? Not tomorrow, but in a couple years. Transitioned leadership, set up a foundation, stepped back from running the day-to-day. Logan stopped walking. Are you serious? I think so. The company was supposed to prove I could survive, that I was strong enough to carry my father's legacy. But I don't need to prove that anymore. I already know I'm strong, and I know what actually matters now. She looked at Emma, spinning in circles with her arms spread wide. I want time for this. For you and Emma, and whatever comes next. I want to build something that isn't measured in quarterly reports and stock prices. Logan studied her face, looking for doubt. He didn't find any. You're sure? No, but I'm sure about you, about us, and that feels like enough. Emma ran back to them, breathless and happy. Can we get ice cream? Absolutely, Arya said before Logan could answer. Emma grabbed both their hands, swung between them as they walked. This is the best day. Logan looked at Arya over Emma's head. She smiled back, unguarded and real and completely transformed from the woman who'd walked into the engineering bay 8 months ago looking for problems to fix. Maybe that was the thing about walls. You spent so long building them that you forgot what they were actually protecting you from. And sometimes the scariest thing you could do was take them down brick by brick and let people see who you really were underneath all the armor. But it was also the only way to build something that mattered. As they stood in line at the ice cream truck, Emma chattering about flavors, Logan realized he'd stopped waiting for everything to fall apart, stopped bracing for the next disaster. He was just here, present, living instead of surviving. Emma got chocolate with sprinkles. Arya got vanilla with caramel. Logan got strawberry. They sat on a park bench, sticky-fingered and content, watching people pass by. "Daddy?" Emma said around a mouthful of chocolate. "Yeah, kiddo?" "I love our family." Logan's chest tightened in the best way. He looked at Arya, saw the same emotion reflected in her eyes. "Me too, Emma. Even though it's weird because Arya's not my mom, but she's also not my mom." Arya's breath caught. Logan saw panic flash across her face. "I think," Logan said carefully, "that families come in all shapes, and what matters isn't the labels, but whether people love each other and show up for each other. So we're a family, even if we're different, especially because we're different." Emma thought about this, licking ice cream off her fingers. "Okay, I like it." Arya's eyes were wet. Logan reached over Emma, squeezed her hand. They finished their ice cream as the afternoon sun warmed their faces. Around them, the park buzzed with life. Kids playing, couples walking, dogs chasing balls. The world kept turning, oblivious to the small miracle happening on this particular bench. "You know what I learned?" Emma said suddenly. "What's that?" Logan asked. "That grown-ups can be scared of stuff too. Not just kid stuff like monsters under the bed. Real stuff like being alone or making mistakes or letting people see them." Arya smiled. "That's very true. Where'd you learn that?" "From watching you. You were scared to be our friend, but you did it anyway. That's what bravery is." Arya looked at Logan, completely undone. "She's right," Logan said softly. "Being brave doesn't mean not being scared. It means being scared and doing it anyway." "Is that what we're doing?" Arya asked. "Being brave?" "Every single day." As they walked home, Emma between them holding both their hands, Logan thought about all the moments that had led here. The late nights and early mornings, the fear and the fighting, the slow dismantling of walls brick by careful brick. He thought about the man he'd been 8 months ago, exhausted, isolated, convinced that survival was the best he could hope for. And he thought about who he was now. Still tired sometimes, still figuring things out, but no longer alone. That was the real victory. Not the promotion or the successful platform or even winning custody. It was this: learning that asking for help wasn't weakness, that letting people in didn't mean losing yourself, that building a life worth living meant accepting imperfection and messiness and complications. It meant choosing connection over control. "Daddy," Emma said as they climbed the stairs to their apartment. "Yeah? Are you happy?" Logan looked at his daughter, then at Arya, then at the home they'd built together in this small apartment with its scattered toys and crayon-covered walls. "Yeah, kiddo, I really am." And for the first time in longer than he could remember, he meant it completely. They spent the evening doing nothing important. Arya helped Emma with a school project. Logan made dinner. They played a board game where Emma won suspiciously easily. When bedtime came, Emma asked if Arya could help with the bedtime story. Logan stood in the doorway, watching Arya read with Emma curled against her side, and felt something settle deep in his chest. This was what mattered. Not the corner office, or the impressive title, or the financial security, though those things helped. But this: the people in this room. The daughter who chose him every day. The woman who'd learned to be brave enough to want more than just success. After Emma fell asleep, Logan and Arya stood in the hallway outside her room. "She called us a family," Arya whispered. "She did. Is that okay, that she thinks of me that way? Is it okay with you?" Arya was quiet for a moment. "I never thought I'd have this. A family. People who wanted me around not for what I could do for them, but just because. Well, you have it now, if you want it. I want it. I'm terrified of messing it up, but I want it." Logan pulled her close. Welcome to parenting. The terror never really goes away. You just learn to function despite it. That's not reassuring. It's honest. Arya laughed softly against his chest. I love you, Logan Hayes. I don't think I've said that yet. Logan's heart stuttered. You haven't. Well, I do. Love you. Both of you. This whole messy, complicated, beautiful thing we're building. I love you too. The words came easier than he expected. Emma loves you. You're stuck with us now. Good. I don't plan on going anywhere. They stood like that for a long time, holding each other in the dim hallway, listening to Emma breathe peacefully in the next room. And Logan thought about how life had a funny way of giving you what you needed exactly when you stopped demanding it. How the best things often came from the worst situations. How sometimes you had to break completely before you could build something better. He'd spent years just surviving. Now he was finally living. And it turned out living was messier and scarier and infinitely more worthwhile than he'd ever imagined. The future stretched out ahead of them, uncertain and full of possibility. There would be more challenges, more obstacles, more moments of doubt. But they'd face them together. That was the real ending. Not a perfect resolution or a neat bow. Just three imperfect people choosing each other every day. Building a family one moment at a time. Learning that love wasn't about grand gestures or perfect circumstances. It was about showing up, being honest, staying brave even when you were terrified. And sometimes, if you were really lucky, it was about finding people who saw all your broken pieces and chose you anyway. Logan Hayes had found that. So had Arya Blackwood. And so, in her own way, had Emma. Together, they were building something real. And that was more than enough.